one of the
we are joined by Dr. Vandana also, so I welcome her too.
Yes. Namaste, Dr. One aspect in terms which I thought was unusual was the new education policy is coming up, and they said Ayurveda is not a part of the new education policy, but we can. The Vaidyas are recommending that from first standard level itself, children be exposed to Ayurveda concepts while studying science. Mm-hmm. And when they go to 9th, 10th level, instead of having only botany and Western terminologies, they should be slowly introduced to Ayurveda concepts and terminology and understanding of Ayurveda. And they said Ayurveda education itself, instead of starting 10 plus 2, should start at after 10th standard. So that those who are not in the Gurukula system can be familiarized very pretty early on. So you have, this kind of concept is there in the defense forces, where you enter a professional degree and you come out as a professional. Whereas engineering, you don't actually learn the skills in engineering. You still have to do further studies, or you have to get experience. Then you become an engineer. But in the defense forces, NDA, you join to be a soldier and you come out and start fighting a war. So we want, extended Ayurveda degree where even those who have not had a family tradition will be exposed to a larger number of years. And have from year one start, doing internship with Vaidyas. We also had a session with 2 sessions with Ayurveda practitioners from all over the world. And they are at different levels of understanding and existence in different parts of the world. So they wanted a more regulated kind of education so that they can come to India, learn and take it back, because right now it's not very systematic. So they say, even if we want to learn Ayurveda, there is no one course, or like how you, I think, have with parallels in yoga. You have somewhere it's 1 year, somewhere it's you can do a 2-year course and you can come out as a yoga teacher or a yoga practitioner. There's no standardization.
Just I see Dr. Absina has also joined. Namaste and welcome, Dr. Absina. And Dr. Amrita is joining. So this is Aparnaji, who is giving us a brief of various events that have happened so far in this series. Okay. This is the 8th of the series webinars that were started since Ayurveda Day celebrations. As a part of it, we had almost more than a month-long celebration going on.
Yeah. I'm just giving a bird's eye view, no specifics. Another interesting point was they said that in the Western world, there are a lot of issues which are now, we are coming to know of, including teenage mental issues and even adult ailments, which are not, we know about diabetes, we know about arthritis, we know about critical care and all that, but they're saying there are mental issues. Including depression and childhood issues, childhood obesity, and they think the West wants solutions from Ayurveda because this is a vulnerable age where we cannot dump drugs on them. So we have to find alternatives. We cannot pump allopathy medicines into very young children or teenagers or young adults without having consequences for the rest of their life.
So, okay, Paranaji, I think it's already. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Vinay. All the very best. We're looking forward to a great session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Umaji, would you like to just brief our panelists about how we had thought about the session quickly once?
Namaste, one and all. Namaste. Today, we are dealing with the topic Swathya. So the various practical aspects of Swathya, like Dinacharya, Rutucharya, and Shodhana, and the mental aspects, like Swathya is just not the physical health; it is also the mental health. So both are always interconnected, and both physical and mental health, they coexist. So all these aspects are dealt today in this session, and we have 4 speakers today. Dr. Vandana, Dr. Manoj Narayana, Dr. Chandramoulishwaran, and Dr. Absina. And this is the just a brief introduction about today's session.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Uma. So first, what we thought of doing is we'll give a general welcome to all the panelists and also welcome our participants and give a briefing about the whole event. And then we'll start with the Dinacharya, Swasthya focusing on Dinacharya with Dr. Vandana Rani. And then we follow it up with, I think second is Dr. Absina will come in second, and then Dr. Chandramoulishwaram, and finally we'll end with Dr. Manoj ji. So that could be the sequence, and at the end we'll have the question answer session. Who all are using the PPTs? If you want to check once if it's working, if you want to share it, and we still have about 5 minutes to do the checking.
Okay,
so before that, I also like to introduce our team. Myself, I am Vinay Chandra. I am part of the Indica Yoga vertical. Indica has various verticals, and I head the Indica Yoga vertical, and I'm based out of Bangalore. And we have with us Dr. Umaji, who is collaborating, who is represented from the AVP and working with us on this project. And we also have Sri Datta Prasad, who is coordinator of Indica Yoga, and we have Dr. Amrita, who is also part of this team. She is actually an Ayurveda physician based out of Hyderabad in Sri Ayurveda Center there. So welcome you all, and yeah, we'll all be introducing each one of you and also handling the questions on behalf of you. So anyone wants to check the presentation?
Yes, I would like to. So I go here. I could like this. Yeah. Oh, okay.
You could do it?
No, it did not appear. I will check it once more.
Doctor, you have to share.
Anyone else is also using PowerPoint presentations, PPTs? Dr. Manoj ji and Dr. Chandramoulishwaran ji.
Yeah, I'm using, sir. I'll share it.
Is it appearing? The screen is visible?
Not yet.
You have to share the screen, doctor.
Yeah, I did that. I can do that. Once more, I can do it.
You make the presentation full screen, probably.
Okay. It's into the slide full screen. Maybe I have to go back into the this. Yeah, screen share. And okay, I think I did. Yeah.
Yeah, it's starting now.
Yeah, yes. Yes, that's it. Yeah, fine. So I close it.
Sure, yeah, you can stop it.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Dr. Vandana, would you also be using?
No.
Chandramoulishwaran ji, you want to try?
Yeah.
So we also have with us the team members from Center for Soft Power. Aparna ji was there. and Varsha Venkatramji is also there. And on behalf of Indica main office, the technical team, we have Koti Ram Prasad ji and Srinivas ji who are supporting. So these are all the members of the team who make this happen behind the scenes. Yeah, it has started.
Can you see?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I think then we can slowly, it's already 6. So I think it's fine. Then we can start the program. Koti ji, are you there?
Vinay ji, I'm here.
Yeah, Namaste Srinivas ji. So this is Srinivas ji who is joining us from Hyderabad.
Namaste everybody. If you can kindly stop the sharing, I'll start the session now so that people will join us. I'm starting, Vinay ji.
Yes, Srinivas ji, please. So we'll wait for a couple of minutes by the time we have our participants joining in. Namaste. Sabhaye Namaha, Sabhasadbhyo Namaha. I'd like to welcome all our esteemed panelists and all our participants who are joining us for this 8th webinar in the series of webinars that we are having since the beginning of the Ayurveda Day celebrations. This is the 8th webinar in a row. We in fact had wonderful explorations dealing with various dimensions of Ayurveda, looking into, say, for example, themes like Jaivika, which is about how to make Ayurveda integral to life, or Itihasa, the way Ayurveda developed, or Prasarana, the global footprints of Ayurveda, or also a critical examination of how Ayurveda stands today in terms of its applications, or looking into Pramana, the resources and sources that are available to us. So in this way, we have looked into various aspects of Ayurveda, its application, its practice, its study, and we have 2 more in the line. That is, today we have it on Swastha or Swathya, exploring the concept of Swasthya and Swastha Vritta. And tomorrow we continue with Sadhana. So these are the series of webinars that we are having as a part of the Ayurveda Day celebrations. And this whole celebration has been initiated by Center for Soft Power. Center for Soft Power is a platform of Indica which features the global impact of Indian spirituality, Ayurveda, yoga, cuisine, performing arts, visual arts, textiles, handicrafts, languages, literature, sports, science, films, and any aspect which has a global impact, which can be a bridge between cultures, Indian culture and other cultures and other societies. So Center for Soft Power tries to strengthen each of these bonds that exist between India and rest of the world. And we have with us a wonderful team which includes Hari Kiranji, who is the founder of Indica Group, Indica Academy, Vijay Lakshmi Vijay Kumarji, who is the director of Center for Soft Power, Aparna Sridharji, who had joined us a short while ago, then Varsha Venkatramanji and Arunima Gupta. These are the members of this team who have put together this wonderful festival along with Arya Vaidya Pharmacy. So we are extremely grateful to all the team members and all the panelists who joined us today for a very interesting topic called Swastha Vritta. So this is what we will be exploring today, and I'm glad to welcome all the senior panelists that we have today. Dr. Manoj Shankarnarayanji. Namaste, Manojji. Dr. Manojji is the Senior Medical Officer at Government Ayurveda Hospital, Cheppad. And then we have Dr. Vandana Rani, who is the Professor and Head of Department of Swastha Vritta at Amrita School of Ayurveda. Then we have Dr. Chandramoulishwaran, who is the Professor and HOD of the Department of Panchakarma, Ayurveda College of Coimbatore. And we have Dr. Absina Kampana, who is an Ayurvedic practitioner and an author who has joined us from France. So I welcome all the panelists for this interesting webinar that is going to unfold in front of you. I would also like to briefly introduce our team. Myself, I am Dr. Vinay Chandra. I head the Indica Yoga vertical of Indica Group. In fact, this whole series of webinar has been put together in a very interesting manner where each one of the vertical and Indica has come together, has worked along with Center for Soft Power to focus on a theme which is related to that particular vertical. So tomorrow you are having a webinar on sadhana, which is being presented by Advaita Academy and Center for Soft Power. So in this way, each one of the verticals of Indica coming together along with Center for Soft Power to put this together. And we thought that Swasthya could be a topic to be explored, which is such a common connected topic between yoga system and Ayurveda system. So along with, we have today with us Dr. Uma, who has joined us from Arya Vaidya Pharmacy. And then we have Shri Datta Prasad, who is a coordinator at Indica Yoga. And we also have Dr. Amrita, who is an Ayurveda physician based out of Hyderabad. And she runs the center of Shri Ayurveda in Hyderabad. So this is our team. And once again, I welcome all our participants. And I would like to introduce the first speaker of the day, Dr. Vandana Rani. And before I go on to introduce, I'd just like to say a word about why we chose this topic of Swasthya. And the very word Swasthya has a high significance generally in the Indian language, in Sanskrit, and in many of the disciplines of whether it's Ayurveda or whether it's yoga. I find it one of the most beautiful definitions to identify a healthy person, right? The word in Sanskrit means Swasmin Tishtati, one who stands in his own essential nature. So one who stands in his own essential nature is the most healthy or the healthiest. One who moves away from his essential nature is also going away from his health. This is the kind of understanding that one can arrive at with just this definition that is there. In fact, in the Yoga Sutra also, you have the very next sutra after defining yoga chitta vritti nirodha, then this is tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam. then the Purusha, the seer, the individual resides in his true nature. So, residing in true nature, that is a state of yoga, and that is a state of health. In fact, this is how yoga defines it, and I'm sure the same ideas are presented in a more emphatic manner in the Ayurveda system, which we are going to listen to from all the experts that are there with us today. So we'll start with the focus on Swastha Vritta, a very important concept in the field of Ayurveda, and especially with the focus on Dinacharya. Dr. Vandana Rani, who is the professor and HOD of the Department of Swastha Vritta at Amrita School of Ayurveda, will be leading this particular part of the session. Just to introduce her, it's indeed an honor and privilege to introduce all these panelists. To begin with Dr. Vandana Rani. Swagatam, Dr. Vandana Rani. Dr. Vandana Rani currently serves as a professor and head in the Department of Swastha Vritta at Amrita School of Ayurveda. She pursued her studies from Government Ayurveda College, Trivandrum. She started her career at Pankaja Kasturi Ayurveda College, Trivandrum, and thereafter joined Amrita School of Ayurveda. She is a multifaceted personality. She is also pursuing her PhD from Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham. She has undergone short-term course in Indian astrology. She is also a clinical hypnotherapist from California Hypnosis Institute, USA. She has conducted more than 70 clinical sessions for foreign and Indian students and clients, including from across the world. Now she holistically combines guided meditation, counseling, yoga, and Ayurveda for psychosomatic illness such as anxiety, depression, asthma, diabetes, and hypertension. She's performing guided meditation for kids too, to improve focus and concentration in their studies and to remove bad habits such as nail biting, smoking, etc. She has just presentation of papers at both national and international seminars and has published articles on regional dailies and magazines. She was a columnist for 2 years in an international magazine, creating awareness in Ayurveda, and has co-authored many popular books on Ayurveda. It's indeed a privilege to have you, Dr. Vandana. With this brief introduction, I would like to request you to kindly lead us and lead the session today. Over to you, Dr. Vandana. Thank you.
Sadashiva-samarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryandam Vande Guru-paramparam Shruti-smriti-purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad-padam Shankaram Loka-Shankaram. Good evening, all of you. Am I audible?
Dr. Vandana, you are audible.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for the nice introduction, and it's a great pleasure and honor to be here today in this webinar for sharing my thoughts regarding Swastha Vritta, giving emphasis on Ayurveda Dinacharya and yoga with special thrust to inner balance. It is the theme of the day. And what is inner balance? It is in Bhagavad Gita, it is said that Dukkeshu Anudikmanaha Sukheshu Vigadaspraha Vidaraga Bhayakrodha Sthida Thir Muni Rutucharya. It is one whose mind remains undisturbed amidst misery, who does not crave for pleasure, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage having a steady wisdom. And it is also said in the same chapter, that is Sankhya Yoga, 57th shloka, it is Sarvatra Anabhisneha Tattat Prapya Shubhashubam Na Abhinandadi Na Dveshti Tasya Prajna Pradishtida. It is one who remains unattached under all conditions and is neither delighted by good fortune neither dejected by tribulation. He is a sage with perfect knowledge. And it is, and generally, inner balance. It is the maintenance of a stable internal environment inside an organism. And there are so many factors that influence inner balance, or we can say there are n types of equilibrium or balances or homeostasis in our body. It is physiological, chemical, metabolical, psychological, etc. And here we are giving importance to psychological balance. It is obtained when tension or stress has been reduced or eliminated. And when we are in a state of inner balance, our heart and brain is said to be synchronized, is said to be in a synchronized level, and no hyper or no depressed physical, emotional, or mental sensations. And we are on an even keel, feel grounded, less vulnerable, more positive, reassured, and strong. Yet, inner balance can also be an enigma. It is a mystery because it is fragile. Yet, it gives us strength. And it is not a permanent situation. It's not a permanent experience. And it changes moment by moment. And we have ways of finding inner balance and keeping it and strengthening it. We can have it, and before we know, it could be gone. And inner balance feels great when we have it, but it takes work and maintenance. Sometimes we can sense instantly when our inner balance has started to drain away. We all have thresholds of carrying inner imbalances, and we all have ways for managing it too. And this inner balance is a process, and it is our responsibility to figure it out. And intuition or gut feeling is the radar that scans this imbalance. Not trusting or ignoring our intuition will ultimately leave us vulnerable and rejected. And we have to make our mind calm and receptive to receive these intuitions. Then only we can act according to our accordingly. That is according by our consciousness. And these both yoga and Ayurveda, they found very supportive in keeping this inner balance. And both are having its origin in India. And they are not merely a medical system, but also a life science that mentioning self-care, self-help care, and the process, it is a process of self-evolution. It is through yoga and Ayurveda, one become aware of oneself and obtain the full quality of life. And this is the uniqueness of both sciences. And Ayurveda has included a state of higher consciousness that goes beyond the medical or health parameters. Because you know the definition of Swastha. And Yama, Laukiki and Naishtiki Chikilsa. Naishtiki Chikilsa is the ultimate treatment which actually brings emotional stability to our mind and then enables us to discover a higher consciousness. And literally, health is termed as Swathya in Ayurveda, and its ultimate Swasthyam means health in its ultimate, and arogya, which is a state free from disease. And it is very interesting to find that Ayurveda says how to define health in the ultimate analysis, that is sarvalokam atmani atmanam cha sarvaloke samam anupashyeda satyabuddhi samutpatyade. It is the state of mind capable of embracing all the extremities in the universe without any intolerance. It is balancing external and internal environment. And this achievement of higher health is possible only by awakening what is called the Satyabuddhi, or the higher perception. And what is this higher perception? Sarvalokam Atmani, that is seeing the whole world in oneself and oneself in the whole world. And until we achieve this insight, we won't really attain a state of health from which we will not fall again. So that is the ultimate goal of Ayurveda, is to take us to this higher level of consciousness. And the same idea is conveyed in Charaka Samhita, Sharirasthana. It is Purusha Vijayam Shariram, Purushoyam Lokas Samhitaha, Yavanto hi loke bhava Vishesha Stavanda Purushe, Yavanto Purushe Stavando Loke. This an individual is an epitome of the universe, as all the material and spiritual phenomena of the universe are present in the individual, and all those present in the individual are present in the are contained in the universe itself. And this concept is seen in Ayurveda as Yatha Pinde Tadha Brahmande, Yatha Brahmande Tadha Pinde. Whatever present in microcosm, we can see in the microcosm, and vice versa. And regarding the external and internal environment, this Panchamahabhuta constitute the material component, and Trigunas constitute the non-material component. And both these are necessary for the creation of universe and for the creation of living beings. And Panchamahabhuta combines in various proportions to form Tridosha. And these Tridoshas are physical, and Trigunas are psychological aspects of human beings. Ayurveda also states that the body, mind, and the soul are like tripod in human beings. It is Tridoshas are physical entities, and the Trigunas are the subtle or the mental entities. We can see both in internal and external environment, that is within us, and it is in the universe itself. These gunas and these doshas, doshas are in the Panchamahabhuta form. And in Ayurveda, Swasthya is defined as Samadosha, Samagnischa, Samadhadu, Malakriya, Prasanna Atmendriya Manaha, Swasthya Ityabhidiyede. And Vikara is explained as Vikaro Dhatu Vaishamya. And Vikaram can be physical or psychological. Sharira Manasayo Stapam Parasparam Apivrajit Adhara Adheya Bhavena Tapta Ajya Khadayoriva. And anything that affects the body will also affect our mind, and anything that affects our mind will also affect our body. And in most of the Purva Rupas of bodily diseases, we can find a mental component like Arati, Tandra, Glani, Alasyam. Likewise, so many mental conditions are there we can find in the Purva Rupas. And throughout Ayurveda classics, n number of synonyms had been used for health according to the relevance of the context. And among them, the two important terms are swasthyam or swastha and arogyam. Arogya Lakshana definitions are also there. Swasthavrta Lakshana definition, Swasthavrta Lakshana are also there. And so when we are talking about Arogya, we are basically talking about the disease-free state. That is not the health ultimatum. The first step of attaining health is recovering from some existing disease, that is the curative component. And that is why the word arogya makes a lot of sense here. And the word swasthya means established in oneself, as Vinayak told in the introduction. Swas means tiyade idi swastha, or one who has united with the inner consciousness. And this health has many stages in Ayurveda, and I already explained Arogyam, that is free from disease. And further stages are there to transform us from Arogya to Swastha. That is curative component to protection, then protection to preservation, and preservation to promotion of health. This is how Ayurveda lays the chart before us. And health is only a means to the higher end. Health is necessary to attain salvation, the ultimate liberation from the myriad of life, and the moksha. Dharmartha kama mokshana arogyam moolamuttamam. Rogastasya abahartaraha shreyasu jividasya cha. And this arogyam is needed to attain the chadushkas, that is moksha, to attain the last sadhana, that is the moksha. We have to preserve, protect, and promote health to attain this moksha avastha. So health is a means to attain moksha. Even though the World Health Organization has expanded its definition of health, as health is not mere the absence of disease or illness, but it's a complete state of physical, mental, and social well-being. This is a very inert definition of life. And the reality is that we have not even been able to achieve the state of arogya, the first stage. And that's exactly what Ayurveda offers us. Ayurveda actually takes us to the state of yoga. Ayurveda takes us to the state of yoga. It is Charaka Samhita clearly states that yoge mokshe cha sarvasam vedanana avartanam mokshe nivritti nisheshaha yogo moksha pravartakaha. Ayurveda speaks about yoga as the internal process of transformation, the union with one's own self, as the word literally means. And the goal of Ayurveda is to prepare us for yoga, and yoga prepares us for attaining moksha, or the higher state of liberation, which is considered to be the state of ultimate health. And this is in tandem with the inner balance. Ayurveda is a beautiful blend of medical science, healthcare system, spirituality, and all these things get synthesized and harmonized in Ayurveda, creating a very harmonious and balanced system of self-development. Ayurveda takes us to a state of wellness. It is an active life that harmonizes with external environment through appropriate lifestyle and diet that helps us to achieve wellness. And Ayurveda advises the daily and seasonal routines to achieve the state of wellness, which goes beyond merely the absence of disease. And when we have achieved the state of wellness, yoga takes us to the state of stillness or tranquility. Only in a healthy body, a healthy mind resides. And then only our mind can become still. So, by making the body well, by achieving a state of relative balance in the physical level, we can take the mind to a state of stillness. This is actually the congregation or the unison of Ayurveda and yoga. So keep our body active but our mind still. Unfortunately, the opposite things are happening today, pushing us in the opposite direction of health. By yoga, by yoga we can have the self awareness, and this self awareness will increase 1,000 times by yoga. It is yoga chitta vritti nirodha, and yoga in Bhagavad Gita it is said that yogastaha kuru karmani sangam tektva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. So we will be able to distinguish what is good that brings about a positive result in the long run. Our abilities to sense what is good or bad for us will be heightened to such a level that we wouldn't be able to follow this unhealthy lifestyle. And that's the real immunity. Having a yogic state of mind is the ultimate immunity according to Ayurveda. And this concept I have heard from the speech of Dr. Ramanohar, Director Acharya of Amrita School of Ayurveda. And this is it is the real immunity, that is it is applied in Atma and mind level also. Prasanna Atma Indriya Manaha Swastha Ityabhidiyade. Then coming to Dinacharya procedures, they are a set of self-healthcare procedures that should be followed on daily basis to keep oneself healthy. It includes healthy regimen, cleansing procedures for both sense organs, mind and the body. And it also addresses the equilibrium of doshas, agni, dhatu, and also proper elimination of excretory products from the body. It also includes some phenomenal procedures like Abhyanga, Udvartana, and also Vyayama that brings about strength and beauty to the body. For addressing Atma and Manas, Sadvrita and meditation has been told. Each and every action should be based on dharma. Then only we could enjoy life. Sukhartha sarva bhudana mada sarva pravartaya sukham cha vina dharma tasma dharma paro naraha. Both yoga and Ayurveda promote cleaning and nourishing practices as a part of dinacharya and as a part of balanced lifestyle, and also as a support for spiritual practices, especially in yoga. So we want to look a little bit more deeply at these concepts of cleansing and nourishing. Coming to cleansing procedures, think about what we would have to cleanse. It is in Ayurveda, we work with the concept of ama and mala. During the course of daily life, we tend to accumulate metabolic toxins, that is ama. It is the undigested or indigested materials, everything that we take on a daily basis, that is the air that we breathe, the water we drink, the thoughts we think, the experience we feel, everything we hear, everything we see, everything we read. These all need to be digested well. If we are not able to digest it well, then we have the accumulation of toxins or ama. We think about these concepts in terms of physical expression and mental expression. And cleansing can help to open our channels and makes us more receptive to nourishment. And cleansing really sets the stage for nourishment. And let us go through the dinacharya procedures. I'm not going into detail. I'm just going through it. I only mentioned the benefits of dinacharya and the effect of dinacharya on the inner balance. There's relevance of yoga and dinacharya procedures in maintaining inner balance. So I'm not going to in the dinacharya procedures in detail. And the first thing is we wake up at Brahma Muhurta. It is the period of 2 muhurtas, or it is a period of 2 muhurtas or 1.5 hours just before sunrise. And one should wake up at Brahma Muhurta for sustaining perfect health and for achieving a long lifespan. During the Brahma Muhurta, all living things except humans are awakening. The birds, the animals, except man, all creatures are awakened to welcome the sun. And this time is suitable for meditation. And after a good night's sleep, the mind is refreshed, calm, and serene. And it's a good atmosphere, internal and external. And there is preponderance of sattva or purity in the mind at this time, as well as in the atmosphere. So after a good night's sleep, we won't have any thoughts of the day when we are doing this in night, when we are doing meditation in night. So about an hour and it is during Brahma Muhurta, a great shift of energy fills the space and the entire body is in a certain conducive atmosphere for the cosmic knowledge to come in. And there is an unnatural production of cortisol and not cortisol, melatonin and other endorphins. That is the good, happy hormones. And the melatonin is the mood elevator, and those who are those who wake up in Brahma Muhurta, we can see that they are enthusiastic and energetic throughout the day. And in a recent study, it is discovered some links between the morningness genetic makeup and the genes connected to the body BMI. So early risers generally have a lower BMI and consequently are less likely to suffer from obesity. According to same study, the earlier you get up, the less likely you are to develop hypertension, diabetic, depression, etc. Then next is the expressing gratitude. That is, you can meditate 1 or 2 minutes or 5 minutes meditation, or you can have your prayers. Then after that, evacuation, Sharira Chinda Nirvritya, evacuation of bowel and bladder. There is a natural urge in our body since it is Vata predominant, and this Vata will act only if we are awakened. And in most people, this is an autonomic reflex, and then it comes Achamana. It is told in Ashtanga Sangraha. Achamana is an ancient ritual for the purification of the body. And next is Ushapana, that is drinking water in morning. It is having a rasayana effect, and it can manage several diseases. And then next comes the cleansing procedures, that is then the Dhavana, then Anjana, Nasya or Neti. In yogic procedures, we do the Neti, and in Ayurveda procedure, we do the Nasya. And for eye wash is there for the purification of eye. Then oil pulling or gandusha is there. Tilataila is recommended. And next is after Abhyanga. After gandusha comes the Abhyanga. And it delays aging, and it reduces tiredness, prevents other disorders, it increases our flexibility, and it promotes strength, it delays aging, and it is a part of self-love. It is we are doing self-massage is doing, and we are massaging ourselves, and we can love our body with this massage, and it gives a lot of positive effect. And next comes the Vyayama. All know you are aware of the benefits of Vyayama according to Prakriti and season. One can do Vyayama, and next is the phenomena, wonderful procedure. It is Udvartana. It is powder massage, and it keeps our peripheral circulation. It maintains our peripheral circulation, and lymphatic drainage is enhanced, and it mitigates the kapha dosha, and it is recommended for overweight, etc. And next comes the bath, then meals, and next after meals they can go for their profession. And the combined benefits of Dinacharya, these are all connected with nature. That is, the Ayurveda daily routine helps you to connect with nature by making you conscious of your natural surroundings. In fact, it ensures that you live in harmony by aligning your body with the rhythm of nature. And it is especially it is good for prevention of lifestyle diseases if we follow that, and it releases the stress, and it is good for digestion and absorption, that is vyayama, etc., abhyanga, snana. These are all good for digestion and absorption and longevity. Researchers in chronobiology, that is, they have shown that longevity and better health can be assured by following a time-honored or a time-bound routine. It is everything, if they have an order, it will go for a good cause. And next is the practice of yoga. It aims to achieve the inner balance. Hatha yoga is the balance between the sun and the moon energy. It is the balance between hot and cold, masculine and feminine, and love and hate, all the extremities. It is a balance. We need to learn to regulate our energy and understand that all our problems are coming from the imbalances of energy. So imbalances of energy is manifested in our personality. So the imbalance is often between, these imbalances are often between the mind and the intellect. That means a person would be a left brain dominant or a right brain dominant. So this pranayama regulates these two hemispheres. So inner balance is crucial when relations become fragile in this era. And any person with inner balance is a sure winner always. And anyone not having this inner balance always lose, and it is the reflection of world in him. So with this, I come to I want to share these are my thoughts regarding the inner balance, connecting Swathya and yoga. And so thank you for the patient hearing, and over to you, sir.
Namaste, Dr. Vandana. Thank you very much for a very gradual and systematic introduction to this whole concept of Swathya and various components it involves. There are already a few questions. Maybe we can take up all these questions at the end in the interest of the time. So we have about 4 or 5 questions that have come up who want to know about the doshas, about the Brahma Muhurta that you were mentioning. So we can take them at the end. But thank you once again for this detailed presentation. On behalf of Center for Soft Power and on behalf of Indica Yoga, I would like to mention that on this occasion, we also have launched a short exhibition focusing on Swathya, taking inputs from Ayurveda as well as yoga, especially from Hatha Yoga texts, focusing on asanas, and various kriyas, which you look into Shodhana and other aspects. So we have put together a short presentation in the form of an exhibition, which is available on softpowermag.com. It is the website of Center for Soft Power, and also on indicayoga.com. indicayoga.com. So on both these platforms, these exhibitions are available. I request all our participants today who are here to make use of this exhibition. And also you can connect with these websites and also the newsletters to know about all these kinds of events that are happening. Indica Yoga primarily focuses on curating and creating yoga experiences in the form of courses, workshops, retreats, focusing on the deeper psychological, spiritual, and life transforming aspects of yoga. And we do conduct our programs across the world. So Indica Yoga is one such platform, and Center for Soft Power links all such activities, whether it's Ayurveda, yoga, cuisine, and as I said, many other aspects of Indian culture, it brings them together. So you can stay connected with all our activities through our website and newsletter. So with this, I thank once again Dr. Vandana, and I now request Datta to come in and introduce our next speaker. Sri Datta Prasad is the coordinator of Indica Yoga.
Thank you, Dr. Chandraji. Namaste to everybody. I'm very happy to welcome and introduce Dr. Absina Campana, who is presently joining us from France. Vaidya Absina Campana is an experienced Ayurvedic practitioner from Kerala, India. Coming from a family with a strong Ayurvedic background, she developed her passion for Ayurveda at a young age, as her grandmother was a well-known Ayurvedic physician. She received her BAMS from Government Ayurveda College Tripunithara, Mahatma Gandhi University, and is currently practicing in France by integrating local pharmacopoeia. After graduation, Vaidya Absina has been trained and has worked under many renowned Ayurvedic physicians and tribal healers. From 2007 onward, she practices in her own establishments in Bangalore, Mysore, Thiruvananthapuram, and France. She is also followed leading training in holistic health as well as PG diploma on Gandhian thoughts. She is the author of many articles in leading medical and health magazine, as well as books in Malayalam such as Ayurveda History and Practice, published by Bhasha Institute, Kerala Government, and Ayurveda History, Science and Treatment, published by Chintan Publication. She will be speaking on Rutucharya. I welcome Dr. Absina Campana to share her thoughts. Over to you, Dr. Absina. Please unmute yourself. You have to unmute yourself, Dr. Absina.
Yeah, it's unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you, Datta, for introducing, and thank you, the coordinators who organized the program. And I would like to, my topic here is to speak about the Rutucharya. So it's like the following of So I am visible and audible.
Yes, doctor.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so thank you all of you, and namaste to all the people who watch, and namaste to all the eminent scholars in this panel. And this is the place where I live. Greetings from here to all of you. Let us go into the topic without losing much time. And thank you, Dr. Vandana, for a nice introduction. And I'm just following you into the Rutucharya. So she explained very clearly the Ayurveda has two aspects, the Swastha Vrittam and Adhura Vrittam. The Adhura Vrittam where the diseased status, and the Arogyam. She explained about that, and the Swastha Vrittam to maintain the health. When the state, when you are in Swastha, how to maintain it. And the Swastha Vrittam has different aspects, the Dinacharya, Rutucharya, and the dietetics parts, and how to manage our natural urges as well. And I'm going to deal with the topic Rutucharya. Rutu means a season, and Charya is the regimen which need to be followed. So I will be explaining the seasons here now. According to Ayurveda, these 6 seasons explained: Shishira, Vasanta, Grishma, Varsha, Sharat, and Hemanta. So in an year, we consider 2 of these will come in one season. 2 months will come in one season. So it is divided. And geographically, there are a lot of differences. Because of that, we won't experience all the seasons in all areas of the world. In different areas, there are the big variation in the season is there. Shishira, Hemanta, Grishma, Varsha, Sharad. Sometimes it got merged, some places it might be missing. And so different climatical zones we have. One is what to say, the Arctic climate, the polar climate. We can imagine it. They won't be experiencing all these. And in the temperate climate, somehow we experience all in that. Again, it is divided like a Mediterranean, continental, oceanic climate, and tropical and subtropical climate. So there is quite a variation. I'm from Kerala, where we experience a lot of Varsha, big monsoons, but no summer or that sort of a shishira. So there is a big variation. When we go to the northern part of India, we can see that very strong Grishma and much more of Hemanta. But in France, again, a big difference. In general, in Europe, we have 4 seasons, and we can see that the Varsha is somehow merged into the Sharat, and the Vasanta and Shishira is somehow merged, we can say. So now I continue with what I am trying to speak here, why we need Rutucharya, and what are the principles behind the practice of Rutucharya. What charyas recommended in Ayurveda and what I could observe in practice. So I will try to explain each of the topic. Each season need quite a lot of time to explain in detail, but we go through how we can with limited time. See this. This is the variation of a leaf during different season. So this is same for all of us on each and every living being in the earth. So to maintain this balance, the fragile Swathya in this is why we need Rutucharya. So the Swastha is the key term. The Dr. Vandana nicely explained, and she said about the definition of Swastha as well. Samadosha, Samagni, Samadadu, Malakriya, Prasannatmentriya Mana will be much more dealing with Dr. Manoj, I think. And the Sama, the word Sama, the balance, the equilibrium is the key word here. So the Swasthyam is a status very fragile, which can be influenced with a lot of factors. So the Swastha, when we say everything is at ease, we are at ease. When we are not at ease, we are in dis-ease. So that is the droga, disease, we can say. So to be at ease, lot of factors have influence. This. These factors. What are these factors? Is it okay to speak? Okay. Yeah. So, lot of factors which influence. In these factors in Ayurveda, which is explained with Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So, when we see Vata, Pitta, Kapha, it is like a package of 7 properties in 3 groups. So, altogether 21 properties, which are not equal and not opposite. It's a very special balance, which it finds it to keep us in good state, in health, in Swasthya. So there is a homeodynamics in that. So the homeodynamic aspect of health is very important. This is what now the biomedical science is speaking about. Till now, they were much more concerned about the homeostasis. Now, much start speaking about the homeodynamics. When we look into Ayurveda, we can see this homeodynamics approach very clearly with the Tridoshas, how it is explained. The dimensions of Tridosha is very interesting that from the cellular level, it to an organic level, it to the organism level, and then come back into the universal level, in the body, we can see in different system it is predominant. And then the balance of that, the one won't stay alone balanced. The need of the balance of all three is very important. It's like a point is connected with three poles and need to be balanced. And now about the biorhythm, where we come in the importance of the homeodynamics happens here. See, when we get up from the day, there are a lot of factors are changing in the body. So it is explained very well in Ayurveda. For example, one of the biorhythm is Vayo Ahoratri Bhuktanam Te Andya Madhyadiga Kramat. The day, the Vada Pitta Kapha variation happens. So like this circadian, infradian, lot of rhythms. In the circannual rhythm is what now we are dealing more, where all other things are coming. You can see here in a day how the variation. It's not shared, Datta?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking with the. Okay.
No problem. You can even continue without it if.
Actually,
you have to. What you did that time, you had to do the same.
Yes, but I think I have to get in the meeting again, maybe.
It's okay. Then continue. No issues. Yeah, continue, please.
It's not coming in. Oh, it's a pity
Okay, no
that
problem.
if it is not appearing.
No problem. Please continue.
It's not shared. Okay. Am I visible?
Yes, you are visible. Yeah.
But I couldn't see this part of sharing, actually. I'm not seeing that.
There is a screen share. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You have to take the share screen option.
Yeah, it's now started. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Sorry for that. Yeah. Is it visible now?
Yes, it's visible now.
Yeah. Okay. So sorry, I passed through these slides already. It's about this. This is all I went through, the Shishira Vasanta Grishma Varsha, and this is what I explained about which we all, each of us going through this sort of a change during the season, and about the Swastha, and the Swasthyam is a very fragile state with a lot of factors influencing from external and internal as well. So this balance is very, very important. That's why we need the explanations of Rutucharya and all, because the health is a dynamic aspect. The homeodynamics of the health, the Rutucharya, when it comes, it is very relevant, the dynamic aspect. Even in the day-to-day life, it is not stable. Nothing is stable. It keeps moving. So in Ayurveda, it explained very well. Pitta Kapha, it is a 7 group of properties put in 3 packets, altogether 21, which is not equal and not opposite factors, properties which balance the health and which play. It is an interplay of these dimensions of dosha from the cellular level. We can see in the system level, in the body level completely, and we can see in the universal level. And here we can see the biorhythms. There is biorhythm, which the doctor was speaking, Vandana spoke about. If we cannot maintain this rhythm, we cannot be mentally or physically healthy. And see this in a day, how it varies. In the production of enzymes, the bowel movements, the blood pressure, body temperature, it keeps varying. So this which is explained very well in Ayurveda, the Dinacharya, Rutucharya, even the treatment aspects are developed from that. And the changes of in the season wise, how it happens. To explain that, what is the change of Vata, Pitta, Kapha, Kshaya, which is called the imbalanced form of a dosha. Prakopa is much accumulated form of a dosha, and naturally it goes into prashama, it becomes normalized, the balance. When if all the factors are provided, and if not, then what to do and how we can bring it into the balance. This is the purpose of the Rutucharya, because we don't have a production of wool or having feathers or wings to fly away, and like other animals, we have just the wisdom we have. So Chaya, Prakopa, Prasara, Sthana Samsraya, Vekti Bhedam. If in case the Prasara doesn't happen here, then it go to the further states and it lead into a disease status. We cannot be at ease. So now the seasonal variations comes here. The Chaya, Prakopa, this was for this seasonal variations are because of the salt is in the nature. So the ayanam, the moon and the sun, how far from the earth is very important. The movements of the sun is what I explained with solstice. In all cultures, solstice was well respected with many of the celebrations. Everywhere it was well respected, and accordingly to change the practices as well. So here you can see the how the sun moves according to the season. The Shishira, it is quite far away, then Vasanta, it is coming closer, then to the Grishma, Varsha, then slowly to the Sharat. It is again going far, and Hemanta. So Uttarayanam and Dakshinayanam, the southern and northern solstice, is respected everywhere. According to the calendar, there are some variations on the days of the solstice, but it is quite natural with the different parts of the world and the space distance between because of the global thing. And now here the Uttarayana, the sun position at the south to north of earth, and sun absorbs the moist from the earth by its hot rays. So beings on earth will lose strength, because the sun is taking away the moisture. So it is called Adana Kala, where sun absorbs the strength from the earth. And in Adana Kala, when sun absorbs the strength from the earth, gradually the dryness and roughness in the earth increases. So it's the same way the taste, because the properties are directly expressed in the taste. The bitter, astringent, and pungent taste gradually increase in this state. This day by day increase. So gradual increase of this need to be protected, where the doshas can be changed. The properties of the doshas in the bodies can change, and we can lose our balance. So now see the Dakshinayana, where the sun moves towards south and the moon increase its coldness. The effect of the coldness is small, and heat of the earth reduced by the rain. Before the cold, real cold comes, there is a wind, the Varsha comes. So slowly it cool down, and the living beings gain strength. It is called Visarga because it releases the strength. So we get more strength during this period. And in Visarga Kala, the properties which increase is antus and coldness. The lubrication and the cold increases. And gradual increase of that, as we said before, accordingly, the properties are well connected, very much expressed in the taste. So the taste which we see is sour, salt, and sweet increase. So these are the principles behind the Rutucharya, why in each Ritu what we have to practice. So now in each Ritu, what is the state of doshas? Three doshas are in the Ritu here. You see, here it is Chaya. The Vada is into the Chaya Avastha. We said it is imbalanced in the Grishma. It goes into Prakopa in Varsha, And provided everything is fine, it goes into Prashama in Sharat, and Pitta same in Varsha. It is in Kopavastha because it is then it goes into the Sharat and Hemanta. Why, how it is, I will be explaining in each season as per the text. And Kapha in Shishira, it is in Chayavastha. Vasanta, it is Kopa, and Grishma, it is Prashama. So now see the immunity and the seasons. We said about the each stage in the Shishira. Normally, how the Chaya Prakopa Prashamas are happening. Sun is quite far away, and Pitta is quite fine, and Kapha in the Shama, and Kapha is in the quite balanced, means Chaya state. So the Hemanta and Shishira are considered as high immunity, high strength period, and Sharat is in the medium, and Grishma, it is so hot we will be tired, and after that the Varsha, lot of infectious disease, the lower strength period. So now I come into the Charyas, what are the regimens explained, and I will try to reflect on what I had seen in my life. I lived in India, different parts of India, traveled around, and now in Europe. What I had seen and shared by some friends as well. So it's nothing is complete. Even then, I will try to explain that as well. In Vasanta Ritu, and I'm beginning with Vasanta, but in the scriptures it is starting from Shishira or Hemanta. Shishiroda Vasantasta, that's how the order comes. But why I am starting with Vasanta, because in Vasanta is the time we can practice all the Rutucharyas. In south of India, or in general in India, we have an equal day and night, and the climate is not very extreme. It is not the state in everywhere. We cannot really practice all the Rutucharya. But in Vasanta Ritu, it is possible to practice all the Rutucharya, and it is most pleasant time. So I thought I will begin from Vasanta Ritu. The Kapha has undergone Chaya in Shishira. So, and Pitta in Shama, we said it is the time with the good immunity. But what happens, it was cold. Then when the sun comes, the Kapha can be liquefied in Vasanta. So it can be cause for lot of infectious disease, and the digestive fire can come down. So we need to be taken care of Kapha at earliest. So the Charyas recommended is for that. So here we can see the Charyas. All Charyas explained in Dinacharya can be practiced, especially kapha reducing ones, the powder massage and strong hard massages, and the fumigation, smoking, gargling, and collyrium, the anjana, all that can be practiced. And bismade, or applying the paste or the perfume of camphor, sandal, Echeleria loncha is agaru, and this is saffron, kunkuma. These all can be used as well. And now the food, the old food, at least 1 year old food, the new rice, new grains are always called abhishandi. It can make some sort of infections very fast. And usage of honey and roasted, means with a trob you can fry or cook the meat of the arid land animals, Jangala Desha, Vada predominant land animals, and these are the animals explained in that. And Anupana, the dry ginger, and asana is water with that, and cypress rotundus, musta water, honey, and honey mixed water, asavas, aristas, and Sidhu Madhya. Sidhu Madhya is considered, I think it's more a syrup, and it is fermented grape juice, is mritviga, and just boiled water with asanas and chandana, these sort of plants also. And relaxation, to be relaxed, because it's most beautiful time, enjoy the company of friends, entertainment with the woman, the wife, and charming in the nature, enjoy the beauty of the nature. All these explained as well. And what not to do: day sleeping, and heavy, oily, cold food, and sour, sweet foodstuffs also, because this is the time the kapha goes into more accumulation. So we have to do the opposite of that. And therapies recommended are Vamana and Nasya, and Dr. Chandra will be explaining the Shodhana part detail, so I'm going through in that. And practices I had seen in general, among the tribes, Chakma tribes, they use during this period mango leaves in the salad. It is opposite of the taste which prevent, we said, it's little bitter and astringent, which reduce the kapha. And regimen followed by tender meat and festivals like Onam, Viju, and such things of and happiness, happy moment of the life. Now the sun rays become powerful, appears to be destructive because sun is coming very closer as we've seen before, and kapha decreases day by day, vada increase consequently. So the charyas which we have to do, the Grishma is the hottest time where we need to do a lot of cooling things. So quite a lot of things explained as well. Cold water bath, spending time in the big forest with the trees like pine, groves of palm or mango. We can see in the north, people gone to northern part of India, many mangroves for the summer, and mango groves. Garden with soothing aromatic flowers like rose, creepers, and jasmines, and grapes around near to the stream, or garden with irrigation, fountains, etc. And sheets, having air conditioned apartments to be spent the time, sheets of cloth spreading sweet scented water, like some perfumed things in that, like vetiver and all, and the using big leaves and flowers to spread the water, and in the bed as well, and spend the day inside. So water being scented with vetiver and other things, and spending the night in the airy terrace with the moonlight. Same, apply the paste or besmear the body, means it can be perfume, using perfume or whatever ways of ornaments as well, with the sandalwood and jasmine, camphor, pearls, beads with the white sandalwood, and very thin clothing need to be used during this period. So, and fanning and sprinkling of cold water with big leaves, beautiful birds, and very nicely speaking children and women who are decorated very well with the lotus. So this all will be giving a cooling effect. And then food, sweet, light, oily, cold food and drinks. And sattu, with the cold water and sugar. Sattu, it's some people use it with corn flour. Some people make it with even some chickpeas flour. So depending on the areas, I think. And polished rice with arid climate, meat, ghee, and milk. And there is something specially recommended, Shashanga Kirana. Yeah, it is like a sort of faluda, I think. It is the milk and sugar making like a porridge, and buffalo milk, which is cooled in the moonlight. Buffalo milk in the dietetics area, it is explained very well. It is the most cooling milk and good for the sleep as well. And then what are the drinks which we can use? It's explained: raga, kandava, panjasaram, rasala, and all the these mamsa sarasa also very thin. If you use it, should be very thin. And the rasala, it can be sweet or thin, with the pepper, salt, and all. So I will be coming into the practices I had seen there, where I will explain little more. And salty, spicy, acidic foodstuffs to be avoided because it heated the body. Exercise, because we are weak, we cannot do that, and not to take sun bath, and the wine if used, and it should be very diluted and small dosage, and sex to be avoided. And practices I had seen mostly in the Gujarat and Maharashtra region and all, they use a lot of mango pulp during this season, and Shrikand, it is a sort of rasala. And in Spain, they use horchata, it is it is a syrup made of musta and the cypress rotuntus, and many syrups. In this area where I live around, they make many syrups with many flowers. And in Kerala, we use the sambaram, the buttermilk. And kefir is a sort of buttermilk or a little bit diluted than that, which use in many countries, the Turkey, Afghanistan, these sort of countries, they use it. In Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, we use ragi a drink with the buttermilk, which is called ambli or kool. And here we make an acacia flower wafer. It is a little bitter, but we add a little sweet in that, which is also helpful to manage this condition. There will be a lot of other practices, but what I had seen, I noted here. And no special therapy is recommended because for the therapies we need good bala. This is the period we are with the weak, we are dehydrated, and the bala is less. Now come to the Varsha Ritu, which is in a way very important period in the Rutucharya. And the importance of Varsha Ritu, it is just coming after the strength loosened season. So we are in the weak stage. The body is very weak at this period. So during the Varsha Ritu, the dryness and roughness of Adana Kala makes a big imbalance in the body. The Vata is imbalanced, and the hot of the climate accumulate the Vata, the Pitta Vata, and it is not vitiated. So due to the rain, cold and wind, Vata vitiated, the Prakopa happens at this period. The Vata is really, really accumulated, imbalanced, but it is not into the Prakopa, but with the cold and wind, it can be. So but need to be taken care very well. And what happens to the Pitta during this period? The thick clouds in the sky, heat from the earth evaporates up. So there will be an acidity and dampness. Along with this warmth, the dampness turn into an acidity, which make a imbalance in the Pitta. And as all the two are not in good stage, and there is a dampness, less digestive fire, the kapha also cannot be in balance. I said about the homeodynamics in the body before. And Agni, the digestive fire, which is in this Ritu, is really weak, and body is suddenly rehydrated where the Agni cannot behave quite normal. So this is a very, very important period. Need prime care for all the three doshas and Agni. And the Charyas explained, apply oil. It is not asking to do the hard massage. It's just apply oil. Udvartana, the powder massage, bath, fumigation, and perfumes like chandana and agaru, fragrant garments and ornaments to be used. The dress should be fumigated and thin, clean, beautiful dressing. And old rice here also, like last month, because it's the period where we can get infectious diseases very often. So the old rice is very important. And sour, salt, oily food. The light oily, it is very important, need to be oily but not to be too heavy. And soups of lentils, vegetables, and meats of jangala mamsa, like arid land, desert land, with the panchakola churna. And honey has a special recommended infection during this period. And you see, I saw here in Europe, people use lot of honey in their food, which is not very common. In Ayurveda, or in Indian background, we use it as a medicine. Here there are period which is recommended, which is not recommended. So people from the countries with this sort of practice, it's very important it will be noted. And drinks boiled air, water, or well water, rainwater or well water. The boiled rainwater is very important here, the water to be boiled, because water is polluted during this month. Fermented drinks, aristams with the grapes, buttermilk with the panchakola churnam, and water mixed with the honey. Yusham are thin soups of the lentils, which keeps the body warm and gives strength, like a moong. Just boil and take the water of that and doing a small seasoning to drink that sort of practices. And how the house is to be. The wind and drizzling should not be affected. Fumigation of the house is important, which will really help it to reduce the infections, we know. And spend the time in the warm area of the house. And what not to do. No day sleep, avoid the mist, drinking river water, the puffed rice water, because it is too ruksha, which can really make the also happen, and the vitiation of the acidity is there. Pitta and vata can get vitiate very fast. Not boiled water to be avoided, and grout, the manda, like rasala preparations, srikhand sort of things, for example, ice cream, to be avoided. And exercise, exertion, heavy exertion, sunbath, sex, and walking barefoot to be avoided. And therapies, this is the suitable time to do the Shodhana Chikitsa, which Dr. Chandra is going to head with that. And practices seen. In Kerala, we have a very big monsoon care packages these days. And Karkadaga Kanyi is well known. Kerala's Karkadaga Kanyi, we all. And no drumstick leaves in Ashada. I had seen in many parts of India, they say in Ashada not to use. This is the Varsha Rudu comes in Ashada. And many places they keep away the newly married couple, and no marriages or gatherings at this period. And fumigation of house and self-care is more important at this period. And in Sharat Rudu is the next one, accustomed to the cold of the rain and sudden exposition to the warm sunrise. Here, the pitta is in Shaya can go into the prakopa. I am here in a sort of autumn. Here we have a mixture of the Varsha and autumn now. The autumn is like a mixture of Sharat and Varsha, I can say here. It may not be same in other part. When the sun comes, we feel suddenly to jump into the sun, but it has its consequences. So spend the evening in the terrace by enjoying the moon, besmear the body with the sandal and vetiver, camphor, and the things like that, and wear beautiful shining dresses and garlands. See why I said things like that. In other places we can find many other things like lavender and all that during this season, which can help. And food, bitter, sweet, astringent, easily digestible food, rice, green gram, sugar, and gooseberry and patola. It's a preparation for the bigger cold season. Also honey, meat of airy plant animals. And it's explained about the hamsodakam during this period. Water gets heated by the hot rays of the sun during days, cooled by the cold rays of the moon during night, and detoxified by the rise of Agastya, the star Agastya Canopus. It is in Greek, it is Canopus. It's Hamsodakam. This water is called Hamsodakam. This is recommended to use this water for everything, because it is pure, uncontaminated. It has the capacity to vitiate all the malas, and it is neither abhishanti, it won't make a sliminess or block in the srotas, in the small channels of the body, and it is not dry. So this is the property we need at this period, I understand. It is like amrita for this period. And to avoid fog, snow, sunbath, eastern wind, day sleep, alkaline substances, curd, sesame oil, strong wine, and vasa, the fat, animal fat, and not to eat full stomach hearty meals. I experience it here, and it really, really troubles. This is a period we have to eat very light half stomach. And therapies explained because the possibility of pitta kopa is there. So with the bitter herbs and virejanam is explained. And practices I had seen during the Sharat in India, we celebrate Deepavali. Different region has different practices, different food habit for the Deepavali because of the area there is differences, and Kartika in our side celebrated Tiruvadira. During this period we use yam and tubers which will help to bring the body cleansing, like the Virejanam part we explained, and soup with herbs like thyme and rosmarin here people use, and chicken stock, vegetables like a little bitter and astringent endive, and recipes with gond. Gond is the edible gum. In the many part of India, we use it in many recipes with that. And there is a regimen before Christmas. We can see that there is a fasting, no sweet and no meat and such fasting. And then they are with the Christmas, they are ending this regimen. And now coming to the Hemanta, called obstructs externally. As the cold obstruct externally, internally the Agni get powerful. So we need to provide sufficient food supply, and if not provided, the Vata aggravation can happen. The Charyas explained as the night are longer, morning itself to do the Murta Tailam, applying oil on the head. I found it very complicated in the beginning, but I understand why. In Ayurveda, as the doctor Vandana explained, there is no big division of mind and body as separate. It is one entity, and this is the period where the pituitary gland function has very important. The hypothalamus, pituitary, and the gut-brain axis, and all to be function very well to maintain the biorhythm. So it's very important to do that. And the Hara Tailas, hard and pressure massages to compete the kapha accumulation, intensive exercises, bath, sun bath, fermentation, and besmearing the body with the musk, saffron, and agaru fermentation, and use warm water for all be used, warm water to be used, reside underground and heated part of the residence, bedding and seats covering with vapors like with wool, silk, blanket, leather, and such things, heavy and warm clothing. Feet should be always covered. The garlands with it is all quite practiced. I know that in the Tibetan area and all they use agaru a lot. Embrace and sex with women and decorated with agaru ornaments as well. And the food, sweet, sour, salt, fresh and fatty meat is what's recommended, and the meat of burrow-dwelling animals, and honey, fat, oil, new rice. Before it was explained the old rice. Here we need more heat. It creates heat, and recipes with wheat flour, rice flour, black gram, cane juice, milk, fat, oil, ghee, all these explained. And the drinks, wine made of cow's milk, hot water, meat soup, and what not to do, light food and drinks, and feeding. Don't to use gruels like very light food it is. So we have to avoid that and cold wind. And no special therapies recommended in Hemanta. And practices I had seen the special housing in different region with the wood, with the stone and the special and heating systems, all that, and the winter clothing and different way of heating systems with the chimneys and now with electricity and all that also. Isolations of the house and keep cows, sheep, horses and underground. People will be living and keep underground.
Little
Yeah.
The time is slightly exceeding, so
go fast. Yes, okay.
Little
okay,
if you could
okay.
conclude it.
So yeah. So these are the practice. It is coming to an end. These are the practices I had seen in different parts. And here it's in the Himalayas. I had seen people eat peanuts and jaggery. Here people use tetanus. Everywhere there is one or the other practices was done, and there are celebrations during this period. And coming to the next, Shishira is very similar to Hemanda. Adana Kala, but it is cold, but it is in the strength loosening Kala. So dryness, cold, and wind, the rain is possible. It should be avoided, and not to be exposed into the wind, and to stay warm, and pungent, bitter, astringent taste to be avoided. These are the things explained. Then it is about the Ritu Sandhi. Ritu Sandhi is the period from the one season is moving into the other season. And this is the period we have to taper one practice and move into the new practice. And this is the 10 things which are explained in Ayurveda, because each area it differs, the practices. We cannot straight away copy one practice from one place to another. In the present context of global warming, it is very important, and the modern biomedical science is really working on with this person-centric approach. It's geographical changes, the habituation, all this comes in this. And for a wise person, master of his learning, all action is world itself. So it is Acharya Sarvacheshtasu Loka Eva Hidimata. It is what Ayurveda explained. So I concluded about the Rutucharya, what practice in one is very important. We have to see, we need to have experience, and one place what is traditionally practiced is important. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you for the disturbance in the beginning that couldn't see the slides. Sorry for that.
Thank you, Dr. Absina ji. I request Dr. Amrita to introduce the next speaker.
A very warm good evening to one and all. Myself, Dr. Amrita. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Chandramaulishwaran sir today. He is our third speaker. Sir is MD in Ayurveda. Sir is currently working as professor and heading the Department of Panchkarma, Ayurveda College, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. Sir has not only taught students in India, but has also traveled more than 6 countries and taught students in abroad as well. Sir is a very good orator, very down-to-earth person. Today, sir will be discussing about Shodhana, detoxification, a concept very unique to Ayurveda. So, over to you, sir. Since it is a time of pandemic, it is very important that we understand how we can stay physically and mentally fit, and how we can prevent diseases through Shodhana. Welcome to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Amrita. Thank you for the kind words. And I thank the organizers, for giving me this, for providing me this opportunity. And my special thanks to Dr. Uma for inviting me this. So I'll try to give my best. So let us, because basically this is a very beautiful thing, if you see, prevention. Swathya, then only comes the Aturasya Roganeva. They could always, I used to wonder our acharyas, like you see in the Tarak Samhita also, some places they say Rogagnam. Some places they say Vikara Prakshamanam. Some places they say Kasaharam. Some places, this, mixture of words. Okay, Kasagnam or Kasaharam. Why in some places it is Gnam? Why in some places it is Haram? So if you see throughout the text, this is what you find, and like that, if you see, prevention is better than the cure. Long back they understood. That's what they said about, Swathya Swathya first, followed by this Atrasya Roga Nivarana. Okay, so since we are concentrating more on prevention, and especially during the COVID time, I know this is very, very important. Now we are saying wear mask, this, that. This way, this been told by our acharyas long back about Shodhana Principles, all those stuff, about Janapadodhamsam. That's what is happening. Janapadodhamsam is happening automatically, since polluted air, polluted water, the man is behaving like an animal is behaving better than a man. So, this is what the outcome is. So, this is the most relevant topic, and once again, I thank the organizers. Okay. So, let us see. So it is basically the introduction. So already we are running out of time. I'll just concentrate on my presentation. Okay, already people told what is Swathya, how mind is not a separate entity, mind and body and soul all together should be happy. Then only you can call that person as Swathya. Okay. So basically, if you want to be a Swathya person, what you should do is basically you must, follow certain things. So not only Dinacharya, Rutucharya, and of course Vegadharana is also comes under Swathya Vartam. Okay, and of course Rasayana and Vajigana also comes under Swathya Vartam. Because if you see before Rasayana and Vajigana also Panchakarmas must be done. Of course Dinacharya, Rutucharya is part of prevention, and Panchakarma is always done there. Okay, so if you see this Panchakarmas of Shodhana, which are a very unique way of you don't see this concept anywhere else. Suppose if you see the modern medicine prevention, if you ask them about the preventive medicine, they can maximum say sanitizers, wearing mask, washing hands, this, that. They don't have this concept of detoxing the body. This is very unique. Definitely they're going to come in future, where we are following this Karkata Chikitsa, all those stuffs. They're going to come in future and say, okay, you can do this, do that. Because they say that preventive medicine, but actually they don't have. Whereas Ayurveda beautifully have this preventive medicine it says in number of ways and it has various ideas, to prevent so many diseases. Okay. So next. So if you see, Ayurveda has elaborated different regimes, Just excuse me, the slides are not moving. I don't know. Is it moving? Is the slides are moving?
They haven't started.
The slides, is it visible?
No, they're not visible. Maybe you should stop it once and again restart. Then it might be okay. We are not able to see the slides, Doctor. Now it has started. Now it has started.
Okay. So now so as I said, the prevention aspect, if you see, the modern medicine has very little to offer, whereas Ayurveda, plenty to offer, especially, the detox or Panchakarma or Shodhana, whatnot. We have so many things. Okay. So basically in the Rutucharya, if you see, especially in some Rutus, the Shodhanas are mentioned. Okay. Absolute Shodhanas like Vamana and Virechana. Because why I call Vamana Virechana absolute Shodhanas? Because this, the doshas are completely expelled through Vamana and Virechana only, out of the body. That's the reason why you don't have Brahmana Vamana or Brahmana Virechana or Shamana Vamana, Shamana Virechana like that. Whereas you have Shamana Nasyam, you have Brahmana Nasyam, you have Shamana Vasti, okay, and you have Brahmana Vasti. So all other therapies can also act as a Shamana therapy also. Whereas Vamana and Virechana can only act as Shodhana. That's why they are called as absolute Shodhanas. When you compare to the other Shodhanas like Niru, Vasti or Siravali. Okay, why? Because you do find Shamana Chikitsa in them. Whereas Vamana and Virechana, they are called absolute Shodhanas because they are the best to eliminate the enormously vitiated or enormously gone out of proportion doshas. Okay. So, in this Rutucharya, there are various Shodhana procedures are mentioned, like Nirgovasti, Vamanam, Virechanam, Shodhana Nasyam, like that. Along with that, if you see, basically, there are some other allied Panchakarmas, because these are like, Upagas, or I call them as allied Panchakarmas. Why? Because they are like soldiers. Panchakarmas, we call them as a king. These fellows are like soldiers. You cannot win a war just by having a good king. You need to have good soldiers also. So these fellows are like soldiers, where they help these big fellows like king of like Panchakarma to get the very good results, like Anjanam, Navananasyam, Pratimarshanasyam, Domapanam, Kavalam, Gandusham. Okay, all these things are also, supply, or these things are like aiding, these are helpers to achieve the Swathya. Okay, so if you see, Chikitsa is once again, classified into Shodhana and Shamana. Okay, once again, what do you mean by Shodhana? It's clean. Okay, to make anything clean, simple. It can be body, it can be anything. If you are cleaning, that's called Shodhana. Okay, so this word is very important. Why? Because I want to go a little bit about Shodhana, because there are some other people also other than Ayurveda, so most of you know, but still. So, this is very important. Yadi irayet bahirdoshan panchata Shodhana chata. Niruha Vamana Kaya Shriroka Srivasriti. Yadi irayet bahirdoshan. Forcible expulsion of the vitiated dosha. Where the forcible expulsion occurs, then only you can call it Shodhana. So in Niruvasti it occurs, in Shodhanasya it occurs, in Vamana it occurs, and Virechana it occurs. And even in Siravada it occurs. Whereas in other like Jaluka Vacharna, in other like Shamana Nasyam, like Anuvasanavasti and all, the forcible expulsion of doshas don't occur. That's why they are not called as Shodhanas. Why Vamana Virechanas are called absolute Shodhanas? Because they are powerful than Astapanavasti, and even they are powerful than Shodhana Nasya, or even they are powerful than Siravada. That's why they are called as absolute Shodhanas. Okay. So why Shodhana is best? Because you don't see any word Shamana Mahatvam. You see this word Shodhana Mahatvam. These are, as I said, Ayurveda is a play of words, beautiful words, Sanskrit words. Shodhana Mahatvam. You don't see Shamana Mahatvam. You don't see Deva Vipasana Mahatvam. You don't see Vikti. This is because this is the absolute, the best. That's why they said, Shodhana Mahatvam. Very beautiful. Why it is best? Doshaha katachit tipyanti jita alangana pachanehi jita samshodhane natu tesham punarudbhava. So by other treatments, by Shamana or Langana, or there are so many treatment modalities mentioned in Ayurveda, the doshas can always come back. The doshas can go always out of control. Whereas once you cure them with Shodhana, they will never go out of control and you will be cured completely from that disease. That's why Shodhana is considered as best among all other therapies. Okay? And this word is very important. Samula dosha haratvam samshodhanasya. So, this samula dosha haratvam never happens in any other therapies or any other treatment modalities of Ayurveda. The samula dosha, that is, the doshas are completely evacuated or destroyed from the body, because once the doshas are completely evacuated, you get Swathya. You come out of disease, or even, in a Shodhana, in a Rutucharya, when you do that, you are preventing the disease. So doshas are samula dosha haratam. They are kicked out of the body, not even without any trace. Whereas from other treatments, there can be some traces. Okay? Yata hetu pratikshan vilamberan boy. So they will be sitting there. So little amount of like cancer cell. So these doshas will be sitting there. They will be waiting for the hetu. Okay? Once the hetu is provided to them, once again they go for vitiation and this process stops. Whereas in Shodhana, it is no trace of doshas will be there. No trace of increased doshas or the vitiated doshas will be there. That's why this is best. Okay? So this is, you can see, you don't see any Shamana Phalam. You don't see any Brahmana Phalam. You see Shodhana Phalam. You see the word. It says the importance of Shodhana. This uniqueness you get only by Shodhana, because Shodhana is prevention as well as Shodhana is for disease also. Here we are talking about the preventive Shodhana. Okay? If somebody does this preventive Shodhana, what he can expect or what she can expect? Evam Vishta Koshtasya Kaya Agni Rabhivardate. Because Kaya Santar Agni Chikitsa Kaya Chikitsa. Agni is very important. Agni is everything according to Ayurveda. That is very true. What you eat, you become. Okay? So if the person is pure, if it is detoxified, his Agni will be stronger. Vyadeshta upashamanti, prakrutishta anuvartati. So the diseases will be cured, and his prakriti, he will maintain his normalcy. Even a swastha person, if you take this, show that is swasthasya swasthya rakshana. Person will be swastha, but you have to, rakshana. You have to, safeguard his swasthya. For that, Shodhana is important. So prakrutishta anuvartati, indriyani mano buddhi varnaschasya prasidhati. So you will have a beautiful sense organs. You will have good balanced mind. I call it as balancing mind, because we need to have all emotions. So balanced mind, where emotion should be shown, it should be shown. Okay. So balanced emotions and excellent knowledge and color complexion. Balam. Okay. Swasthyam. Patyam cha varshita aksajayati. So you will have good strength. You will live long without any disease. Okay. And Jaram Krichinayalabati, you can see, so if you do this, the person will live long and he will live youthfully. And Chiranjivati Anatmeha. Okay, this is the Shodhana Phala. Okay, then this is where the prevention comes. When to do the Shodhana to prevent the disease. Sharat Kala Vasandocha, Pravut Kalacha Degnam, Vamanam Rechanam, Cha Karestu Kushalo Bishak, Sarangataram Vitram. So Sharat, Vasandam, Pravut. These are the main three. Okay, Vamanam, Virechanam, and Vasti. Okay, should be done. So if you see, I wrote it according to our Rutu, and I don't know whether our Rutu is also very correct nowadays because of the, so I have treated so many foreign patients also. I visited countries. They ask this particular question. So I say, follow the Charya only. Don't worry about the months. Don't worry at all, because the months varies, as Madam already explained. Follow the Charya. If it is Grishma, if it is summer, follow the summer. If it is rainy season, follow. So just I tell them to follow the Charya, and this is according to the Indian calendar. This is the different Rutus and the sequel months. Okay. So basically, this is about Shodhana Gala. So the dosh, if you see, if the doshas are accumulated in Shitotbhavam Doshachayam Vasande Vishodaya. So in Hemanta and Shishira, the dosha accumulation happens, then in Vasanta you should kick it out. Okay? Grishmajam Abrakale. Okay? So in Grishma and the pre-rainy season, it should be expelled during the Varsharutu. Okay? And then before Sharatrudu, the accumulation of Pitta happens. So in Sharat, you take care of that vitiated Pitta. Okay? Why these three seasons? Why they said? Because they are moderate seasons. When you compare all three seasons, they are extreme seasons. Okay? So these three moderate seasons, okay, for a healthy person, this Shodhana must be given to that healthy person in order to prevent the disease as well as in order to give him a good health. Okay? Then Panchakarma plays a very important role in prevention of the disease, but also for curing the excessive disease, thus maintaining good health. Okay, Ayurveda advocates Shodhana on regular basis. So we have to take this to everywhere, especially in India. We talk so much about the foreign countries. How about India? Only Karkata Chikitsa is very famous in Kerala. Somehow it is taking shape in Tamil Nadu. So we have to teach people about this. We have to teach about the prevention. Definitely. Okay? Because it is beautifully written in Ashtanga Sangraham. And this Vega Dharaniyam Adhyayam, 6th Adhyayam. It says, the pot can be very pure, or the silver utensil can be very pure, and water can be very pure. But if you keep that pot or the silver, with the pure water for so many days, you can see slowly the dirt accumulates. Slowly, all other things settles. That like that. Though you think you are very healthy, though you think you are fine, but if you don't do Shodhana, if you don't do Shodhana, during these seasons, the dirt accumulates. That is, the doshas slowly will definitely accumulate. Though you do follow, he says this is very important. Though you do follow, kept undisturbed for so many years, that develop. So like that, the doshas also develop inside the body, despite of following rules and regulations. Okay. So basically, whenever the doshas are accumulated, okay, sometimes they pacify themselves. It is called Rutucharya. In some patients, okay, and sometimes though they like how we Vayoharatri Bhuktana. This is called physiological increase. So this physiological increase can occur in Rutucharya also or Rutu also, but it can pacify on its own. It is called Rutucharya. Okay, but sometimes or most of the times the doshas will not get pacified on its own, because whenever the individual indulges in ahara vihara, which provokes that particular dosha and which leads to the aggravated stage and which may lead to the disease. So Shodhana is important in such people. Okay. So first, if you see in Hemanta, what we can do. So Hemanta Ritu, why we need to go for some treatments there. So due to the cold atmosphere in Hemanta and Shishira, Jatrakni becomes powerful and starts Dhatu Pachana. Very important. So it happens there along with aggravated Vata. Because of the prashama of Pitta, Pitta is very less there. Vata is increased due to cold, and the Jatrakni has become increased and it started Dhatu Paka. Okay? And during this time, Vata and Kapha undergoes Chaya. So we must do some of the treatments. What Kriyas must be done? If you see Hemanta and other things, Shishira, they didn't say much about Shodhanas, like Vamanam or Virachanam or Vasti. Whereas they said about these fellows, the aiding fellows are the soldiers, like Abhyangam, Murda Tailam, okay, Avagahasvedam, Jantahasvedam, Vimardhanam, Padagatham, Dhuma, Anjana, Udvartana, and Utsadana. And best you can see Vatahara Tailas, okay, like Bala, Tailam, etc. can be used, okay, regularly. And definitely Shirovasti must be done, because best for Vata and Murdini Taila with Shirovasti advocated is for Swastha is 1000 Matra Kala. Okay, so which helps to prevent the Urdha Jatru Vikara. So a person will not have any ENT problems during this time. So Shiro must be done, and Avagaha Sweda should be done with warm water after anointing Taila Abhyanga. So Abhyanga must be done with warm oil, then take nice Avagaha Sweda during this cold. It is fantastic. Okay, so what happens by doing this? When you do this during Hemanta or Shishira, that is cold season, basically the circulation improves. The srotasas are, because of the outside cold, the srotasas are closed. You have to open. That's why when you do this massage and steam therapy or the hammam or whatever, the srotasas are open. That means the blood circulation is increased. The warmthness increases the blood circulation. More oxygen is entering into the tissues. So automatically you feel good. You feel rejuvenated. Next comes the Vasanta Ritu. So here Kapha is accumulated during Shishira Ritu because of the cold. So which goes further increase in Vasanta Ritu, produces the diseases due to vitiated Agni. Agni becomes impaired and produces various Kapha diseases. Hence, you can see Tikshna Vamanam. People think Vasanta Ritu means Vamana. Please understand these words. I told these words must be understood very properly. Tikshna Vamana. It's not like simple Vamana. You must give very, because Vamana Karma can be done with different medications. Here, Tikshna Vamana with Tikshna and Shodhana Dravyas. Tikshna Ushna Shodhana Dravyas must be used. And many people think during Vasana Ritu, only Vamana is used. No, not like that. Because Urdha Jatru Vikara Vishesha Nasyam Kapha is also Vikara. So Shodhana Nasyam can be done. Niruhavasti also. It is written in Sushruta Samhita. Beautiful. Shodhana Niruhavasti can be given, depends on the person. And Kavala Graham, Utsadanam, of course, Vyayama, Anjana, and Tikshana Duma. Okay? Medicated cigarettes. Tikshana Duma also must be given. Okay? And for all purpose, hot water and Niruhavasti is indicated. Why? You can see, as I said, Sushruta explained this. Dalhana says that even though Niruhavasti is indicated in aggravation of Vata, as it is a Sarvadoshahara, and it can be advised in Vasanta Rutu also, because Vasti, Vatecha, Pittecha, Kafecha, Sasyate. Beautifully written by Sushruta. Vasti, Vatecha, Pittecha, Kafecha, Sasyate. Simple. One word. Finished. So it is good for all three doshas. Hence, during Vasanta Rutu also, not only Vamana, if you feel that person needs Nasyam, so give, Nasyam for Urdhva to cleaning, to clean the other parts, give Niruhasti, then Vamanam also. So, and if not, if the time is short, give whatever is suitable to that person. So, Ayurveda always gives lots and lots of free hands. You have to choose. That is, it always says, I gave you the idea, you choose. So, here also the ideas are there, you have to choose. Okay? So, once again, Vasanta Rutucharya, once again, this is by Dalhana. Very beautiful. Vasanta Rutucharya is of two types. Shodhana and Shamana. You see, you don't see this one in Charaka or Ashtanga Sangraham. It can be Shodhana Vasanta Rutucharya and Shamana Vasanta Rutucharya also. Chaya Purvaka Prakopa Dosha should undergo Shodhana Rutucharya, and Achaya Purvaka Prakopa Dosha should undergo Shamana Rutucharya. This is very beautiful. Okay? Then, if you see, Vasanta Rutu consists of Chaitra and Vaishakha Masa. Arunadatta says, in the month Chaitra, Kapha has to be expelled through Shodhana, so that Kapha will not undergo Kopa. Okay? And during Vaishakha Masa, along with Kapha, I didn't write that. Vata also increases, so you can go for Niruhavasti there. Now I gave you the idea where to go for Vamana, where to go for Niruhavasti. Okay? So every year in the month of Varsha, Sharat and Vasudha, when clouds are clear, Nasya with Anutaila can be followed very safely. Okay? Next, Grishma Ritu. In Grishma Ritu, we don't do anything regarding Panchakarma. Simply, because it's very Adana Kala. Okay? Simple Vata and elevating measures and Pitta elevating measures must be done. Next comes the Varsha Ritu, a rainy season or Pravrt. You can see in Ashtanga Sangraham, he uses the word Pravrt, not Varsha. Pravrt means just before Varsha, which is very important. Sometimes we say in Varsha Rutu we go for Niruhavasti, not like that. It should be started in Pravrt itself. That's what it is explained here. So it can be done during Varsha or it can be done Pravrt, that is pre-rainy season as well as rainy season, we can go for Niruhavasti. So due to the Shita Guna, Vata aggravates by the warmth of earth, Kala Sobhava and Amla Pata of water, and water vitiates due to mixing of waste products of Luta, because due to Varsha, new rains, the water is contaminated. So you can see all three doshas are vitiated in Varsha Ruta according to Sushruta. So not only Vatam, all three doshas are vitiated during Varsha Rutu. Okay? Then according to Prakrasika Vyakhanam, Vata, before it undergoes Prakopa, that is at the starting of Varsha Rutu itself, Shodhana has to be done. This is what Pravruta Rutu is. So Shodhana must be done during Pravrt as well as Varsha Rutu. Okay. So like in Vasanta Rutu, it's upside down. Like in Vasanta Rutu, I already told, like in Vasanta Rutucharya, in Varsha Rutu also, two types of Rutucharya, Arunadatta explains, that is Chaya Purvakam and Achaya Purvakam. That is Shodhana Rutucharya, Shodhana Varsha Rutucharya, and Shamana Varsha Rutucharya is been explained by Arunadatta. So Vatakopa in Varsha Rutu is Chaya Purvaka Prakopa, Kapha is in Achaya Purvaka Prakopa, and Pitta is in Chaya Avastha. Hence, Shodhana Rutucharya for Vata and Shamana Rutucharya for Kapha is advised. Okay, very important point. To exceed the aggravated Vata, Astapana Basti is necessary in Varsha Rutu. After the purification of body in Shuddha Tanu, this is, nobody follows this. Very important. In Pravrt season or Varsha Rutu, we directly go for, we think, or maybe there are learned scholars. This is what my feeling is. We directly advise for Astapana Basti. No. We must do either Vamana and Virechana first. Then only Astapana Basti. It is clearly mentioned. You can see here Arunadatta comment that Shuddha Tanu as those who have been undergone Vamana and Virechana. So because I told in Varsha Rutu, all three doshas are increased. So better before going Astapana Basti, either Vamana or Virechana must be done, followed by Astapana Basti. If you do, you get very best results and the detox will be ultimate. Okay? And here also you see one more example I will tell you. In Chakradatta, while explaining Gridharasi Chikitsa, it is explained that Basti Prayoga without the purification of Urdhva Desha does not yield desired therapeutic results, as in such case, uniction is quite useless like oblation in ash. So many of, when we do certain kinds of treatments, when we do certain kinds of planning, these small things must be kept in idea. If somebody comes with Gridharasi, immediately we start for some Vasti. No. Always think Nasyam. That's why they say it is not, though it is said the Surya Jyotra, it acts on all over the body. That's why in Ikka, Swasam, Nasya is mentioned in so many places, where the, Urdu Jatra is not involved at all. So like that, we should not think Varsharutu means only Vasti. Where it is necessary, Vamana must be done. Okay? So, in Avishuddha person, Vasti will never act. So, do Shodhana, absolute Shodhana like Vamana Virechana, then go for Astapanam. Okay? So, once you give Sneha Vasti in Shuddha Deha, the Sneha Dravya will distribute all over the body. So, after purification only, you should go for Sneha Vasti. In many places, they go directly Sneha Vasti. I will not advise that. In my practice, I always say 1 or 2 Anuvasanam. Start with Astapanam, 1 or 2 or Madhutailikam, then go for Snehvasti. You will get better results. So, you can see in a Swastha person, Bala Gudicyadi, Bhakti is indicated for Swastha. Balya and Brahmana type of Bhakti can be administered as a Bala of individual is Avara in this Ritu. So, wherever in Adana Kalam, Balya Vastis can be done. Sneha Vastis can be done, though it is not mentioned in our texts. Okay? Then, if you see Sharat Ritu, basically the Pitta Prakopa occurs, okay, which has accumulated in the body during Varsha Ritu, gets further increased by the sudden heat of sun rays in Sharat Ritu. Vata is in Prashama Avastha, okay? Hence, to relieve this vitiated Pitta and Rakta, Snehapana with Tiktakam Gritam, very important, Tiktaka Sadita Gritam, or Tiktaka Dravyehi Sadita Gritam must be given, and Rakta Mokshana and Virechana are advised. Tiktaka Gratapana helps to relieve Vata Kopa due to Rakta Mokshana and Virechana. Why they mention this Tiktaka Gratapana? Because when you do Virechana and Rakta Mokshanam, Vata can go bad. That's why they said to use this Tiktaka Grata, okay, because it can relieve the Vata Prakopa. Okay, then this Tiktaka Gratapanam and Rakta Mokshana and Virechana also helps to relieve Pitta Prakopa due to Kala Swabhava, nourishes the body and improves the appetite also. And then Hemadri explains the order to be followed like Tiktaka Grata Snehapana followed by Virechana and Rakta Mokshana. See, these are small ideas mentioned in our texts. Okay, and during Sharat Ritu, okay, Shita Kashaya of Trivrit, okay, Duralabha, Musta, Sarkara, Udicya, Chandana, Draksha and Etyaho should be advised for Virechana. So, what kind of Virechana Dravya we use, that also plays a role. That's why Acharyas gave so many options. We always give Trivrit for everyone. We always give Avipattikara for everyone. No. Then don't tell results are not there. Please. You see the small ideas, small things they mentioned here. We must follow that if you want to get a proper results. Okay? And the powder of Dvigunotra Pippali Moolam and Abhaya helps for easy purgation in Swastha. Very beautiful. Okay? Then, if the doshas which are in Sanchaya Avastha during Grishma, Varsha and Shishira are removed by Basti, Vamana, Virechana extra, then there is no chance of doshas undergo Prakopa during Varsha, Sharat and Vasantam. Okay? During Shishira, Hemant Ritu, due to the cold atmosphere, there is more chance of Vata and Kaphaja Rogas. Hence, during this period, Vata Kaphahara procedures like Abhyangam, Udvartanam, etc. have to be done to prevent such disorders. As Vasanta is following season, allergic rhinitis are more common due to pollen grains. Okay? Vamana advised in this Ritu helps to reduce serum histamine and IgE, which are responsible for allergic reactions. Also, Tikshana Nasyam, Udvartanam, etc. to reduce the aggravated kapha in this Ritu. Basti indicated in Varsha Ritu helps to avoid Vata aggravation during this Ritu due to rainy climate. Due to the hot climate, Pitta and Rakta Vishay during Sharat Ritu can lead to development of various skin diseases. Okay. So Sushruta says that those who undergoes Rakta Mokshana regularly at proper time will not get affected by skin diseases. That's why during this time Rakta Mokshana and Virechana is said. And Pitta Shamana procedures like Virechana, Rakta Mokshana and Pitta Gritapana is mentioned in Sharat Rudu in order to prevent various Rakta Dushita Vyadis and skin related issues. Okay. In Vasanta Rudu, Vasa and Majja. In Pravrit, Taila and in Sharat, Grita should be taken. This is for Swastan. You see, in Vasantam, it is Vasa and Majja. Whereas, of course, the Grita is always best to everywhere we say. But trust me, if you are trying to study, if you are trying to do Shodhana in a Swastha, why can't we do something which is said in our text? Maybe we have, I'm trying this, So next, my plan is with my students in Vasanta Rutu, Vasa and Majjapana, and do the Shodhana and study, maybe the histamine levels, all those stuff. I'm planning some kind of ideas. So, Ushnavirya of Taila helps to reduce Vata Prakopa in Varsharutu, and Shitavirya of Grita helps to reduce Pitta Prakopa in Sharatrutu, because in Vasantrutu, why Vasa Majja is mentioned, according to Chakrapani, they are neither too hot, they are neither too cold, they are moderate. So, Vasantrutu is a moderate climate, that's why it is used there. Whereas Ushna helps to reduce Vata and Shitavirya reduces the Pitta. Okay. So the Grita is good for all persons in all seasons according to Kashyapa. Okay. That's why we go for Grita. Okay. You can see. So according to a study led by the University of Cambridge published in the journal Nature Communications, our immune system vary with the seasons. Okay. The activity of almost a quarter of our genes, that is 5,136 out of 22,822 genes tested, differs according to the time of year, with some more active in winter, some other more active in summer. See our acharyas. They spoke in gene levels. Very great. Because of the season, the base, our genes are changing. So, to prevent any kind of diseases, this Rutucharya is wonderful, and Shodhana in Rutucharya is absolute. Okay? And one more thing, this seasonality also affects our immune cells and the composition of our blood and adipose tissue. Okay? For immune cells and the composition of our blood and adipose tissue. Who said? I did. Father of modern science, Hippocrates, has observed the influence of seasonal rhythm in physical and mental health. He says, whoever wishes to investigate medicine properly should proceed thus. In the first place, to consider the seasons of the year and what effect each of them produces. Okay. So with that, I would like to conclude my presentation because of this time constraint. I have more slides. Maybe in future, when the time permits. Because I want to concentrate only Shodhana as a prevention. I think it makes sense to conclude here. So I once again thank the organizers for providing me this opportunity. Hope I did proper judgment by providing my small knowledge with you all. Thank you, one and all. I welcome if any questions are there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. It was a very detailed explanation on the various aspects of Shodhana. Thank you, sir. And as we are running short of time, I would like to move on to our next speaker. We have Dr. Manoj Shankar Narayana, and it's my privilege to introduce Dr. Manoj Shankar Narayana. Dr. Manoj was initiated to Ayurveda at the age of 14 by his maternal grandfather, Vaidya Vachaspati P. Mahadeva Iyer. Thereafter continued the traditional learning of Kerala Ayurveda under various eminent Ayurvedic scholars and physicians. He completed his BAMS and MD from Government Ayurveda College, Trivandrum, received PhD in 2019 from SCSVMV deemed to be University, Kanchipuram. He is currently the Senior Medical Officer, Department of Indian System of Medicine in Government Ayurveda Hospital, Chepat. He has authored and co-authored several books on Ayurveda and also been invited as a resource person in various national and international seminars. Today, Dr. Manoj will be talking on the aspects of mind in Swathya and with the topic Prasannatmendriyamana and how to attain the mental and physical and spiritual harmony. Over to you, sir. Manoj sir.
Namaste. I thank organizers, especially Dr. Uma, for calling me to this session. And I'm taking this liberty of talking about something that she wanted me to focus to rather a broader area. Say, when we approach Ayurveda or any traditional learning, for any student or observer, or we call a lover of that particular discipline, he faces a challenge that is common to anyone who explores the challenge of history. When it comes to a healing system which has various dimensions beyond its textbooks, the challenge is even more tougher. So instead of contemporary Ayurvedic scholars, physicians, and those who wish that the knowledge which Ayurveda contains or which inherits through its observation during the 2 millennia of our rich cultural heritage need to be disseminated to common masses, researchers, as well as the greater welfare of mankind. We should be viewing this system in a more dispassionate, more rational, objective manner, rather than viewing this as what to say, this is my tradition, this is my heritage, and this is said in this or that. We have to scrutinize it. So, coming to the question of health, for a layman, health means nothing but absence of certain diseases. Or any healing system means what can be done for this or what can be done for that. So when you scroll through these questions, the questions are, how can I heal my constipation? So for a layman, it comes to the normal, small issues that disturbs him. Then how he can be reconnected to Ayurveda, which is neither a professional system as we all claim, or it's a khichdi as it is claimed by its critics, but it is something beyond all these things. But it includes all these ramifications that we can see in any other organized medical healing profession, which is currently represented by the biomedicine or the Western medicine or the allopathy, whatever term you wish to designate that. Coming to the concept of health, I wish that when we think about health or the health system or Ayurveda, we should try to explore it, because we are very fortunate. It's not that it's very false to claim that only in India we are having a traditional healing system. No. wherever man has traveled, he has explored the possibilities of a very sound body. So that's why Patanjali, when he talk about health, instead of using swastha, if I'm wrong, please correct me. What I found is tado animadi pradurbhavaha kaya sambhat tad dharma anabhigadascha. The third pada, 44th sutra. He further says, Rupa lavanya bala vajra samhana nanitwani kaya sampat. So it's a metaphoric thing. Kaya sampat. Perfection. That's an ideal condition is told by Maharshi Patanjali. He's a pioneer who explored the harmony between mind and body and tried to explain the inner peace and its harmony with the external world. So where you will not find the conventional usages. And the explanations which Yoga Sutrakara uses more subtler things, where it's very difficult for us to even comprehend what the idea is, what he is going to convey. So, Nabhi Chakre Kaya Vyuha Jnana. My guru, Dr. Rajagopal, used to say, whenever you think about physiology and anatomy, as well as its derangement and its measures for coming back, always think about this sutra, the 28th sutra of third pada of Patanjali, Nabhi Chakre Kaya Vyuha Jnana. So, commenting on that, the Bhashyakara, Nabhi Chakre Kaya Vyuha Jnanam, Nabhi Chakre Samyamam Krutva Kaya Vyuham Vijaniyat. Vada Pitta Sreshmana Trayo Doshaha Dhadavaha Sapta Tog Lohita Mamsa Snayavasti Madhya Shukrani Purvam Puramesham Bahyatumi Esha Vinyasaha. So the Western scholars like Philip Mass and many others quoted this and try to say that the Yoga Sutra Kara is having a different concept about the Saptadhatus. Why I deliberately drew this into this discussion, where people are talking precisely about what to be done and what not to be done and how it to be done, because all those aspects are done by previous speakers. But I want to try to see in a more comprehensive and more, less technical. Being technical, I want to convey things in a less technical manner for those who love Ayurveda and those who are not purely Ayurvedic people. So whenever we think about continuities, we feel any discipline which is secular, as well as I'm using secular in the meaning not used by the political press. It is not a religious activity. Usually it is translated as secular. Ayurveda comes under the secular practices of Sanskrit domain. When we explore those secular practices, we usually tend to believe that a modern Ayurvedic doctor is very closer to Charaka. And we try to feel one with the Samhitas. And most of the time, we use our notions about health, which are embedded into our thought process, which are not there which were not there at the time when these systems were composed. It is just like when we say the entire India is spiritual and entire West is material. It's very grossly erroneous concept to brand like this. By branding so, what happens is that we try to do the mistake of revivalism. The revivalistic things will take us to nowhere. It is a very good idea. We can think very positively about reviving those things. It's just like talking about medicinal values of our herbs and planting all the orchids in our garden. Such a disconnect will happen when we fail to identify what is real in front and what we need and what is the way forward. And here, Michael Foucault is a celebrated author. His notion should be appreciated. Beneath the gross continuities of thought, beneath the persistence of any genera, form, discipline, theoretical activity from now on, what we shall try to detect is the incidence of interruptions. There is a negative task to be carried out to get rid of a whole set of ideas which propagate the theme of continuity. And such is the idea of continuity. So this actually, Foucault talks about the task of identifying the interruptions. Actually, he is carrying forward his predecessors, Yashin Bashar. He speaks about the epistemological obstacles and the epistemological breaks. Whenever we fail to explain a phenomenon, or when we fail to explain something, or when we fail to carry out a task, that is actually not a failure. That failure triggers a motivation to find a solution for that failure. And so failures act as a fulcrum for the next success. So when we identify these things, we can find a continuity which is discontinuous in nature. And when we talk about Swathya, at the very outset, we say it's a very wonderful explanation which can only express through Sanskrit. Swasmins diyate iti swastha. One who is standing within oneself. So it's in one way we cannot define it. In another way we are defining person specific. So it's just like what we nowadays in modern psychiatry we speaks about the dual continuum of mental health and mental illness. And this things were thought about by our rishis or our thinkers. And when we very broadly see how health was viewed, it was considered and it was conceptualized as something very comprehensive. In Vedic times, the Shanti mantras like Dev Shantirandhariksham Shantiravarsha, that the harmony is not sought after for an individual or a group or a certain class or certain tribes. It was sought after for the whole. And the health or the positive concept, what we call as wellness, it's very difficult to translate those comprehensive ideas expressed by Sanskrit terms. The Swathya is not asked for an individual when he is in his good times. Pashyeva Sharadashava. Why? Because Sharad Kala, as Dr. Chandramouli was very clear about what should be done during Sharat. And even Panini, while recognizing the importance of Sharat Kalajanya Rogas, he uses a sutra for that. What to be connoted and how the Sharat should be used. Dhan is the pratyaya should be used for making Sharat to Sharatam, the Dirgha. So it's well accepted that we should be healthy during crisis. So it's not accidental, just well thought after. And we tend to forget that if everyone of our forefathers were very, very consciously aware about the need to keep themselves fit, then there will be no health issues. So since that is not the case, so people tend to live in their own way, like how we live today. Those time also, people used to live like that. So, edat prakrtyeva viruddhamanna. People used to indulge naturally. Edat prakrtyeva viruddhamanna. Samyoga samskara vasena chetam. Ityadya vijñāya yadeshta cheshta. Charandi yat sa agni balasya shakti. Tasmad agnim palayet sarvayatneir. Tasmin nashte yadina nashameva. Doshergraste grasyate rogasangehi. Yuktedu syat nirujo dirghajivi. So, Vagbhada says it's impossible to keep the folk to get into our fold. So, what I'm trying to say that the Vedic rishis who were close to the nature, who want to live a harmonious life, ask for a positive swasthya during the pandemic-like situation, and they devise a system that is what we see in the form of documented knowledge from Charaka Samhita to the last one in the form of Arogya Kalpadrumam or Vaikyatubachmuta's Hridaya Priya in Sanskrit, and n number of vernacular texts in various regional languages. Let it be Khagendra Manidarpana of Hale Kannada, edited by great scholar Mariyappa Bhatt, or various Manipravalam texts which are there in Malayalam, Tamil, as well as in Andhra, like Basavarajajiam or Vaidya-Chintamani, or Sanskrit texts in the form of various Sangraha Granthas, or the well-known Sanskrit compilation which was honored by Vinoda Lal Sen or by Govinda Dasa Sen, called Aishaj Ratnavali. So it's a journey, and this journey, if you see, if you slice it, you can see Charaka himself in Rasayana Bhata proposes for whom this Rasayana should be. Those who practice a Gramya Jiva, that's a urban life, if you translate. For them, you have to practice this. If you are not practicing that lifestyle, if you are keeping yourself within the realms of nature, you need not do anything. So, this is the first shift. That first, that holistic concept which was reverberated in the thoughts of rishis and which has been documented by Charaka as Purushoyam Loka Samita. So, whatever is there in the world, you can reflect in your soul, in yourself. Whatever there in yourself, you can reflect in the universe. So such a singing, such a mutually complementing nature between the microcosm and macrocosm, the Veshti and Samishti, was viewed in such a beautiful way. And in Charaka, you will find natural phenomena were used as examples or metaphors to explaining the bodily phenomena. Vadakalakariam is a wonderful example. And how that deteriorations happened in between is well documented by both Bhela and Charaga in their Vimanasthana, where if the pandemic situation happens because of corruption, which is again rooted in lack of dharma. Again, dharma is a very, very complex term which we cannot explain in any other language, which has its own connotations. And recently, the great author Guru Charan Das has written the various shades of dharma in his well-researched book on concept of dharma from Mahabharata's point of view. Let not digress from what we are talking, the health. And when it comes to Ayurveda, health is viewed as Swathya. And this Swastha, which is seemed as the balance between various faculties. And since I am interested with the faculty of Manas and Indriya, let me draw your attention to the Indriyo Vakramaniya chapter of Sutrastha. With just few verses, after that, what happens is that Charaka speaks about various chords and contexts. For example, he talks about Indriyas as well as mind in the seven. I'm talking about the numbers put by Yadavji Thirukamji. Actually, these are proses, so you cannot equate with the slokas. So it's proses, karikas. So it's a prose style narration. Up to 17, it talks about various Indriyas and Manas. And after that, it goes directly to Sadvrita, the code of contact. So, again, here comes the importance of appreciating yoga for understanding properly what Ayurveda acharyas understood or wants us to understand. And here, coming to the third pada of Yoga Sutra, I told that Kaya Sampad is the term used by Maharshi Patanjali. In fact, such a connotation is absent or conspicuously absent in our classical narration. After explaining what is Kaya Sampad, he goes to the need for Indriya Jaya. He puts the next as in next sutra, he talks about Indriya Jaya. So here also, the Sadvrita is coming. And if you just read this Sadvrita for a modern day Ayurvedic student or for a modern day man who wants to be healthy, it makes no sense. All these things are simple things which we practice from our kindergarten. And if we want people to listen, for example, cutting of the hair, shaving nails, and one should always wear untoned clothes, use fragrance, flowers, attire should be gentle and style of the hair should be commonly in practice. So these things, see, it should be taken in such a perspective that we should not be parroting these lines to a modern audience. And here, we should give the impression of need for understanding the spirit of Acharyas. What is that understanding? That understanding is Sukhartho Sarvabhutana Mata Sarva Pravarteha Sukham cha vina dharma tasma dharma varo. So, to have an ethical standing which contains various ramifications into our own way of conducting life. I can explain this in simple terms. Most of the times, ill health is a very sought after thing during election times. Now, people use a very fashionable term. Even Ayurveda people, yoga people also uses this term without knowing its problem. When we use that term, we are moving away from our Shastra. I will explain. We say lifestyle disease. When we use lifestyle disease, then we are diluting our stand on our Shastra. For me, I'm winning by bread and butter by studying Vagbhada and practicing my Ayurveda based on Vagbhada. What is his orientation about health or ill health? Kalartha karmanam yogo hina midyadi matrika samyak yogascha vijñeyo roga arogyeika karanam. Roga arogyeika karanam. For achieving health as well as the cause of disease, Kala means climate. And in the current scenario, the greater environmental things, which includes water, air, as well as quality of the place where we stay. Now it's fashionable to see on our television screens to see, but the quality of air, the quality of water, have campaigns, having marathons, but being reared in a very rural environment, we drank the water from the channels, from the rivers. We got no dysentery. It was not at all there. We were, the environment was not polluted. June 1st means your monsoon steps in. We all know that it is the mid of the Malayalam month, Edavam, Rishava Masa. Edavapadi is our monsoon. Now we don't know when we will get rain, when we will not get rain. So this should be proper. If it is improper, you are not safe. Karma means your indulgence with your sense organs. Now you talk about addiction to TV, addiction to games. PUBG is creating panic. Some other games or some other computer-enabled programs are driving us to some other things. Even if you go to any good temples, now it becomes a ritual to hold your mobile phone and catch the glimpses of those ritualistic events which were outward expressions of spiritual sadhana. It has been commodified. Why? Because of the advent of artificial intelligence. So, when we talk about things, we cannot take us away from the real-time situations. Coming back to the point that I digressed is from the greater canvas where the entire universe and or the life was considered as the reflection of one spirit or Atma, whatever what you call. Then it started focusing into Ayurveda in the form of Rutucharya, Ayurveda, or completeness. And when it comes to Sushruta, the Vedotpatti Adhyaya, he talks about, even though Ayurveda has greater role to play beyond humans, I am restricting myself to humanity. And when it comes to Ashtanga Hridaya, he says, it is Chikilsa Yeshu Samsrita. Charaka talks about an internal Ayurveda, where he says Ayurveda is Anadi, and it is Shashwata. He says three things. And then he asks the Purvapaksha why it is narrated as there is an origin. Then he says there is no spontaneous origin. Nahi Ayurvedasya abhuda utpattiru upalabhyate anyatra upadesh avabodabhya. Just for understanding and for communication, it is told that it was originated from Indra or Prajapati or whatever. So, it's an understanding which is deeper in Charaka, and for those who are into Ayurveda, we will see that the entire Charaka focuses on two ways, Shodhana and Shodhana. Unfortunately, we study the Panchakarma term entered in the second chapter. The title of the chapter is Apamarga Tanduliya. Apamarga is considered as many of the healers of the Vedic times as the super drug or Oshadamada. Charaka there says only by doing Panchakarma, by understanding the Matra and Kala, you can practice, not by merely understanding certain healing effects of certain drugs or materials. You cannot achieve a health. So from that place, when you go to Sushruta, you will find something very more interesting, where he talks about, not only talks about healing through Aushadis, but he talks about healing through surgeries, which again a hot topic nowadays. So his narrations is different. Why? Because he is more practical man. He is more into a technical man rather than Charaka, where he is more or less like a philosopher who philosophizes the health and ill health and try to heal it. When it comes to Charaka, he is more prudent and more practical. So he said, what I am talking about, the sense of humans only, even though it is applicable to other domains. When it came to Vagbhada, he says, a number of books are there, many of them are repetitions. So I am keeping it from a perspective of a Kaya Chikilsa or a therapeutic man, where Shalya Tantra is just like a rural dispensary, maybe modern medicine doctor. He'll be doing small features, small wound stuffs, other things, not a highly sophisticated surgery, which is not in his domain. So he says it's Chikilsa Yeshu Samsara. So in these three areas, where you can see the concept of health from the perspective of a culture, which was very unique during the time of Vedic rishis, which was so harmonious with the nature, which gave you the license or the power to dream, to dare, the Sharat Kala, which is so often offensive towards you, where the this pandemic like situation will come. That was wished. Pashyeva Sharadashatam. It was, and that too, it's not just like a vegetative state was asked. And even Kaya Sambat, it is just like Vajra, it's so potent, was asked. And when Charaka comes, Charaka also wanted a very, very holistic or very, very complete, comprehensive health was visualized, and he reverted the ideas of Vedic rishis. And Sushruta, he was also in line with that, but he conceptualizes the pragmatism of a surgeon. And when it comes to Vagbhada, we were more and more alienated from our basic roots, which was embedded in nature, towards a more urbanized place where the healer, where the physician was only doing the business of healing the sick. And this shift we have to understand. If you want to run a Vaidyashala, you need not understand all these things. You need the quick wits and quick knack to address the issues raised by the common public, who will be different in their attitude and aptitude, and they will be asking us to give small tips to greater challenges. It can be a constipation, it can be a sleepless night, it can be a bad smell, it can be a cancer, it can be a pakshakada, it can be a vadarakta or a rheumatoid arthritis, or it can be a Guillain-Barré syndrome. It all depends on your skill and it all depends on your training. But how to place ourselves as lovers of Ayurveda or upasakas of Ayurveda, because we are the only place where the 2000-year history, even though sparsely documented, was documented to a large extent, and it is available for us for study. And here comes one important thing. How to view Roga? Because I spoke about dual continuum concept, where there are people are seemingly very healthy, but they are not mentally very healthy. But they will not exhibit or express any symptoms or anything that is perceivable as a psychiatric illness. But they still they are not purely harmonious in their life. And this was very much aware for our acharyas. And this was echoed again and again in various concepts. And it is not new for us. The importance of keeping mind and body as one. It is not the dichotomy of Greek or the Descartesian system was not there. So when we call it as psychosomatic, then we are ridiculing our forefathers who constituted this great pathati of Ayurveda and Yoga, where they never compartmentalized this. They contacted this as whole. That is why an American man who may not be as spiritual as we feel, but he is as sincere as a sadhaka of our Himalayas or our great traditional ashramas, will be doing Hatha Yoga with perfection. So this Sharira and Manas Shaririyo Stavaha Parasparam Abhipratit Adhara Adheya Bhavena Tapta Ajya Khadayuriva. And the Vagbhada, the brilliance of Vagbhada, the Kavi in the Vagbhada, na Rishi Kavi Proktaha, the Rishi in Vagbhada is, though traditionalists may not be happy to call Vagbhada as a Rishi, but I am just his brilliance. His Mangala Sloka, he says, Asheshakaya Prasudana Shesha. Simply it means Asheshakaya, the whole body. But the Ashesha Shabda denotes Manas, Manas Sharira Prasadana, Asheshakaya Prasadana Shesha. With such beautiful thing, he is connoting the oneness of mind-body complex, and he is talking about the whole body, and he is also talking about the whole kayas. Kaya means whole creatures. So, say he introduces his Samhita or his text with Ragadi Roga. Whereas he talks about Vadavyadi, Kushta, Meka, Bhagandara or as Maharogas. He is not saying Apurva Vaidya. He is offering his salutations to Apurva Vaidya. And he has cured this Manasika Bhavas. So he say in one way, he is reverberating the idea of Charaka. Where he says, if you want to get a good state, a healthy state, you need to be a healthy ruler whose rule is rooted in dharma. And Charaka Samhita Vimanasthana chapter 2 explains this corruption train. It is not Aam Aadmi Party or some other political scientist who put forward this corruption chain and its link with environment and health. And end of the day, he says sometimes we Vaidyas who are supposed to be neutral, they should not be taking any partition things. Vidya Samapto Bishajam Didiya Jadi Richade. Unfortunately, the Bhadralok Bengali editions interpolates it as Tridiya Jadi, rendering it as meaningless. Vidya Samapto Bishajam Didiya Jadi Richade Astude Vaidishabdami Navedya Purva Janmana. So, Shivanam Deshanam Anudhavana. If you cannot ensure a very good environment, where you can, just like our Madam Sonia Gandhi left Delhi to Goa for getting good air. Shivanam Deshanam Anudhavanam. It is there in Charaka Samhita. So it's not mere practices or mere things. Why? Because if you just dissect, if you just compartment Ayurveda into few chigilsas or few commodified things, deliverables, it is just like reducing entire yoga to some steps of yogic asanas. Though it is very important to learn asanas, which is easy to propagate to the common masses, I'm not denying that. But if you reduce the whole yogic philosophy into few asanas, then you are not doing justice to that great thought system. Because samatvat dadu doshana malanam cha adhikarata. It's simple Sanskrit. Samatvat means equilibrium. Of what? Dhatu and doshas. These are technical terms to explain the physiology in Ayurveda. Malanam cha adhikarata. The corruptibles are not doing any vitiation or corruption. Swastasya prita manaso. You say, again the emphasis, you see, the swastha and his prita and his manas. His mind is also very calm. Na kriyabir prayojanam. You need not do any shodhana things. So it's very clear. So it's Z, and this is from Narasimha Bhashya. And this Narasimha Bhashya represents one of the beautifulest times of Ayurveda, where he clearly demarcates. I will conclude within few minutes. Demarcates Swastha into two classes. He says, Vishat Paripalita Swastha. From Garbha till his death, one who follows the practice of Ayurveda and yoga, and because of that practice, he is keeping his senses, his doshas, his malas in balance, and he is not having any problem. So he is Vishat Paripalita Swastha. And those who are not practicing and still they are running. Just like in North India, we say Ram Bharose. So those, just like the Ram Bharosa military hotels, we happen to go there and we get a good food. So all because of our providential interference. It's not because of the quality of the service. They are called Yadrishika Swastha. And Narasimha says, all these things are talking sense matters to the Vishakparipalada Swastha. And this Vishakparipalada Swastha is the matter. And there comes our role. And with beautiful use of common sense or the ancient Sanskrit style, he talks about the concept of roga and arogya. And he says, narokaha, arokaha. Aroga bhavam arogya. So he says, narokaha, arogaha, aroga bhavam arogya. Health is construed as absence of illness. Evam arogye parikalpyamane arogyam roga abhava matram syat. If you construe such a concept, what is the problem? We all study in our social and preventive medicine. WHO has put forward this in this year. And we speak volumes about it. See, it's written somewhere in the before 10th century. Tatra ka dosha? He asks, what's the problem? Tal lakshana sadhana bhalanam asambhavasya. If you construe health as an absence, it is not a bhavatmaka. It is an abhava. What happens? Tad lakshana sadhana bhalana bhavaha. Arthabhavasya lakshanato bhavat. Avastuttvadi bhavaha. So, there he uses his capacity as a Sanskrit scholar. He explains the various connotations of nani. Pradisheja sataya anyatve sadrishebicha kulsida alpa viraha artheshu vivaksheja nanya bhavet. Then he construes vivakshartha, antagonistic. If there is health, there is no possibility, zero possibility of disease. If there is disease, there is no possibilities of health. And that health and illness are how it is construed. It has construed for both applicable equally to mind and body. So it's not merely getting a lab report and telling it. It is just like a perpetual drinker usually does an LFT and he feels very satisfied with his enzyme level and he then goes on continuing his habit, and end of the day he will succumb to all the ill effects. So what's the problem is that we have to construe and we have to convey. And in the prelude, the stakeholders of this event talk about incorporating Ayurveda in school. Yes, it's good, but if we are eating Maggi and if we are addicted to Kentucky chicken, what will happen? I'm not talking about politics, but without politics, there cannot be health. Bangalore is a place which witnessed a huge Swabhimana strike against this chicken outlets. Now you can find more than 300 plus outlets of that particular multinational. Because of that strike, they got free media attention. And this is the way artificial informations are feeded into our minds. And again, those methods have been adopted by the people who feel that we are connected to a culture which see one with the nature And again, we advocate that we will do this, a particular pranayam or a particular chikitsa. It's not like that. We have to go back to the basis. And that basis is what? Basis is understanding the self. And that self is explained in various places. And this you have to be very clear about what you need. And that's why Apurva Vaidya is prized by Vagbhada. Health can be achieved only through somebody like Basavanna or somebody by Adi Shankara. Can change the whole way we perceive. Otherwise, you see, what we first lose with refrigerator is we are losing. By getting a refrigerator, what we do? We are losing our healthy habit. I will conclude with one anecdote. I was a physician in a remote village. When I went there, it was the first year that village got a bus connectivity because it was in Kuttanad, which is below sea level. So only in the last decade it got connected. There are places we cannot reach by car or any other vehicular things. We need a boat or something like that. And it was the time when the chikungunya episode happened. People started coming to visit Ayurveda hospitals. And it was the common upper respiratory tract, CASA, was there. And I used to give Ganji as a prescription for their pathya. And I'm not getting a proper result. Then they came back. I started asking them, how do you prepare the Ganji? I thought it is a rural area. So people are still following their rural customs. To my surprise, all of them were preparing. Even a illiterate lady is also preparing the kanji in pressure cooker. The answer is that gas can be saved. LPG can be saved. So I remembered one line from Vagbhada. When it is concentrated, it becomes very concentrated like peya. Usually in Kerala, Vaidya prescribes podiyeri kanji, broken rice. It's very easy to digest. It is made as huge as some dal is also added. So after that, I realized why Vagbhada introduced that particular one line in the Jora Chikitsa. Because we can do this mistake. By doing this mistake in the Kalpana, we will never get the desired result. So what I am trying to say is that we cannot achieve health or positive living by selectively picking a particular thing. Because we have moved away from our natural atmosphere and natural environment. And also, our textbooks during its 2000 years journey will act as a mirror for us where our forefathers commit errors. And such errors can be corrected, and this correction can be done only just like one of the famous environmentalists of our small area. He says, Vriksha Satyam Vanam Mithya. People talk about afforestation, bringing back the forest. But if you say we can find a Padma Awardee who planted by himself a number of acres of land, He himself planted it. So only by accepting that vriksha, planting vriksha, individual trees, is only a solution rather than celebrating on a particular. For example, in Kerala, we does this Prakriti, the environmental day and this monsoons come almost clashing. It will be heavy rains. Unfortunately, the UN has declared as an environmental day. The Babudam or the IAS lobby and the so-called elitists never think about our seasons. They will ask us to plant on that particular day. Rains will come and this heavy rains will destroy the entire public money. So such things, without using our common sense, we are following. So just like understanding Ayurveda and giving this to current generation, its value. You cannot ask somebody to do achavana, or I'm not contradicting anybody. All these have this on relevance. We should not feel that we are revivalistic forces. Rather than we should be most reasonable and most sought after. We should not be, I will not say that we should not be conducting any modern researches. But if you want everything that is written and documented in our textbooks to be corroborated by modern laboratories, then I'm afraid we will never see use of any of these things in our lifetime. The more we become sophisticated, the more we are losing our culture in the form of this. Here, I wish everyone should read M.N. Srinivas' Sanskritization, where he talks about how the Kurd imbibed the Vedic culture or the Brahminical culture, and how the Brahmins moved away from their culture by adopting the Western things. So, just like I think many of our friends will be appreciating T.P. Kailasam's satirical things, the Namma Brahmanige thing, that will not, such a situation will be there if we doesn't revive the Ayurvedic thinking, which is very simple and keeping very simple things, and having a philosophy about life which are very basic and keeping us ahead of times, and try to be one with the nature. And Vaidya is a referee between the external Prakriti and the microcosm. And only by getting back that Vaidya, who means Veti the Vaidya, is a knowledgeable person, because most of the time Vedic scriptures refers to Bishak. When the Bishak transfers to Vaidya, and this Vaidya trickles down into the community, then only we can get a healthy population back. Otherwise, health for all will be always a mirage. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir, for your in-depth sharing on this topic. I know we have a little run out of time for today, and kindly excuse us for all the participants. As we need to conclude it. We can't take any questions for today, but definitely all the questions we will post it to the respected speakers, and we will get in touch with you. I take this opportunity to thank on behalf of entire Indica team and Center for Soft Power and AVVP for all the distinguished speakers for giving their time and sharing this vast knowledge on the Ayurveda. So I thank each one of you, sir, for your wonderful time, and we look forward for your more such interactions and in the future. Thank you all, one and all, for your patience listening to us, and Also, kindly excuse us for the time we excluded today. Thank you. Hari Om. Shubhratri. Thank you. Thank you.